Chapter 978. The Moon Shadow Clan has been secretly following us. I'll make the arrangements immediately. Li Shui bid farewell and left. After all these years of training, she had become more and more resolute. The Qing family still wants to get involved with the Great Luan sect. The Qing family still hasn't given up. Medicine King Yi Wuming frowned. Qing Xingnan and Qing Yan are protecting the Qing family. I feel that this might not be the doing of the Qing family. There might be something else going on. Murong Yorua hesitated for a moment before looking up at Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu looked at everyone in the hall and said, I don't want the painful lesson of Shi Cheng to happen again. We have already given the Qing family a chance. If the Qing family continues to be peaceful, we will keep our promise. However, the Qing family is still with the Great Luan sect. We can't do anything about it, Du Yunlong said. The others didn't say anything else. They all understood that they didn't plan to let the Qing family off today. In the end, Qing Xingnan and Qing Yan begged for their lives and Emperor Qing crippled himself to give the Qing family a chance. But now, someone from the Qing family had once again led the Qing family into a dead end. I'm afraid the Moon Shadow Clan will find it difficult to deal with the rest of the Qing family. Yellow Earth Hall and Black Water Hall, go and help, Du Xiaofu said to Yellow Earth Hall Master Hua Fankong and Black Water Hall Master Chao Yu. Yes. Hua Fankong and Chao Yu nodded and left the tent to make the arrangements. We have conquered many cities in the Stone Dragon Empire. What should we do? Eagle King asked Du Xiaofu. During this period of time, the cities that the Huang country had conquered were already 1/3 of the Stone Dragon Empire's land. Let's return to the Huang country, Du Xiaofu said. Return to the Huang country. Many of the World Society's core disciples were stunned when they heard that. They were reluctant to part with him. This country is not very big. The world outside is much vaster than this country. There is no need to care about this country. Du Xiaofu looked at the main hall, and his eyes flickered. He then turned to Eagle King Gong Dao and said, Grand Elder, all the hall masters of the World Society will be stationed in the desolate nation. Have the army withdraw. Arrange for all the core members that are absolutely trustworthy to gather in 4 hours. Also, inform the commanders of the Heavenly Beast Hall and above. Also, inform the generals of the Tianwu Academy, Li Yuxiao, and the others that there will be a valley 100 li away in 4 hours. All right, I'll arrange it now. Medicine King Gong Dao nodded. Although he did not know what Du Xiaofu wanted to do, he left the tent to make arrangements. Old Yi, I need to return to the 7-star hall as soon as possible. I'll leave the barren country and the World Society to you, Du Xiaofu said to Medicine King Yi Wuming. When? Yi Wuming asked. 4 hours later. Du Xiaofu smiled. Are you going to be a hands-off boss again? Yi Wuming glared at Du Xiaofu and said, Be careful on the road. Soon after, Du Xiaofu bade farewell to his master, Gu Qingyang, and his elder brother, Zhen Qingchun. Naturally, he had to be reminded. Looking at his master's rosy face and 2 front teeth, Du Xiaofu felt a warmth in his heart. He kept nodding his head as his master reminded him. Be careful. I heard that the Divine Light Court and the 7-star hall are at odds with each other. Sima Muhan pouted. She looked a little unruly, but it added a little cuteness to her. Don't worry, your martial uncle will be careful. Du Xiaofu smiled. You, get lost. Sima Muhan stomped her feet and scolded him. She walked out of the tent angrily. Shui Ruhan looked at her, her blue eyes rippling. She smiled but did not say anything. Soon after, she followed Sima Muhan out of the tent. How did I provoke that girl? Du Xiaofu was stunned. He did not know why that girl suddenly changed her attitude. She changed her attitude faster than flipping a book. Chen Ling, didn't you say you wanted to spar with him? Yin Ma Chen looked at Du Xiaofu, then motioned to Chen Ling beside him. The corners of his mouth curved into a faint smile. Get lost. Chen Ling rolled his eyes at Yin Machin. How would he dare to spar with that guy? He would definitely be looking for trouble. Soon after, in a canyon 100 miles away from the Tiger Gorge. The moonlight shrouded the sky. Under the night sky, the moonlight was like a waterfall. The martial veins in our bodies have become extraordinary. Because of the martial veins, the disciples of the Du family can cultivate with twice the results with half the effort. Their power is extraordinary. Conservatively speaking, there are now more than 100 disciples of the Du family who have reached the human sovereign realm. They are even getting stronger. Do you know why? At the gate of the canyon, several figures landed. Du Yunlong looked at Du Xiaofu and asked. The current Du family was no longer the same as before. It was just that they had been trying their best to hide it from the outside world. What is the reason? Du Xiaofu immediately asked. The thunder martial vein in his body had always been a mystery. Why did he have the martial vein spiritual mark in his body? And why did he seal the spiritual root? All these puzzled Du Xiaofu and he could not understand. Du Yunlong replied to Du Xiaofu, uncle and the elders of the Du family went through some of the genealogical records left behind by the Du family and finally found some reasons. Du Yunlong paused and pursed his lips. Lightning flashed in his eyes in the dark night. He said, the Du family might have been a big family in this world in the past. According to some of the ancient records passed down in the family, the Du family was one of the strongest families in the world. We had the thunder martial vein and were extremely powerful. But later on, for some reason, we declined. The Du family used to be a big family in this world. Du Xiaofu's heart trembled when he heard this. If the information was correct, it could explain why he had the martial vein spiritual mark in his body in the past. The thunder martial vein was very powerful. Naturally, it was not something an ordinary family could have. Du Xiaoyao said with interest. He could feel how terrifying the thunder martial vein was. Du Xiaoqing, Ouyang Shuang, and Little Tiger didn't say anything. Phantom, Jiangchen, Shou Sha, Bloodvine, and Hun Xia also stood quietly. Under the moonlight, they seemed to feel more comfortable. However, there are not many records left behind. My father and the elders of the Du family didn't find any additional information, Du Xiaoman said. Her eyes flickered with lightning. She also believed that the Du family used to be a big family in this world. If there is a chance in the future, I will definitely investigate it, Du Xiaofu said softly. So, as soon as Du Xiaofu finished speaking, the space nearby fluctuated. Many auras spread over and several figures landed. There were more than 100 of them. They were Eagle King, Gong Dao, First Elder, Mysterious Flood Dragon King, Absolute Sword King, Mysterious Flood Dragon King, Stone Turtle King, Yi Piaoling, Qian Guyu, Silver Fox, Duo Sha, Stone, General, Gu Xinyan, Ghost Child, Wu Kei, Li Yuxiao, Silver Winged Demonic Condor, Ba Ao, and other core members of the World Society, Sky Pivot Hall, and Tianwu Academy. They were all trustworthy people. President. Hall Master. Everyone bowed. They were confused. They didn't know why he had called them here in the middle of the night. You're here. Du Xiaofu smiled. He waved his hand and a light flashed between his eyebrows. An ancient aura spread out. A familiar aura. General, Gu Xinyan, Li Yuxiao, and the others' eyes widened. They immediately felt that familiar aura. Little Blue, Little Tiger, Yu, Jiangchen, and Phantom will head to the 7-star hall later. The rest, follow me. Du Xiaofu smiled. With a thought, the entrance to the ancient desolate space opened. An ancient aura rippled out and he took the lead. What is that thing? It can actually hide space, everyone was shocked. However, they followed behind and entered the ancient desolate space. Chapter 979. As everyone walked into the ancient desolate space, Du Xiaoqing waved her hand and stored the ancient desolate space in her palm. Roar! The little tiger transformed into its original form. Black runes surged and golden ripples swept out. Then, it carried Du Shaoqing, Jiangchen, Phantom, Bloodvine, Beast Killer, Hun Xia, and the others and disappeared into the night. Is this the Heaven Martial Talisman realm? In the blurry ancient desolate space, Ouyang Shuang, Du Xiaoman, General, Gu Xinyan, Sun Ji, Wu Qingfeng, Zhang Wei, Li Yuxiao, and Wu Kei immediately felt a sense of familiarity. The aura in this space was exactly the same as the Heaven Martial Talisman realm. It was almost exactly the same. This is indeed the Heaven Martial Talisman realm. Du Xiaofu nodded to Ouyang Shuang, Du Xiaoman, General, and the others. Then, he said to everyone in front of him, this is the Heaven Martial Talisman realm in Tianwu Academy. There are all kinds of beast energy, talisman arrays, and secret techniques inside. 20 hours inside is only 2 hours outside. With 10 times the time difference, everyone can comprehend without worry. So this is the Heaven Martial Talisman realm, the Solitary Sword King, Mysterious Flood Dragon King, Eagle King, and the others were all shocked. They had heard of the Heaven Martial Talisman realm in Tianwu Academy, but they didn't expect it to be in Du Xiaofu's possession after Tianwu Academy ceased to exist. It's said that there are many beast energy and secret techniques inside. That's not a small opportunity. 10 times the time difference is amazing. The Golden Condor King was very excited. He knew that he could obtain many benefits inside. You'll be able to gain a lot of benefits from this place. The reason why I allowed everyone to enter this place is not only because everyone here is a member of the world society, but also because I treat everyone here as my own people, or even my relatives. Otherwise, I wouldn't have let everyone in. Du Xiaofu looked at everyone with a serious expression. He had an extremely majestic aura. Although he was young, he was already the ruler of a region. At this moment, he was even the founding emperor of a country. His majesty came from his soul, and everyone couldn't help but respect him. On his shoulder, Du Xiaoyao stood on Du Xiaofu's shoulder, her golden eyes looking at everyone as if nothing had happened. We will follow the guild master wholeheartedly. Follow third young master, even if we have to die 1,000 times. Eagle King, Gong Dao, Solitary Sword King, Black Dragon King, Qiangu Yu, Duo Sha, Silver Fox, and the rest of the World Society's core disciples saluted respectfully. Over the years, everyone knew what they had gained. Even though the young man before him was young, he was a supreme genius of the Middle Continent. Not to mention the ancient Heaven sect and the 7-star hall behind this young man. Most importantly, everyone was clearly aware that with this young man's natural talent and potential, it wouldn't be long before he would definitely become an overlord in the Central Continent. At that time, they would definitely become famous in the Central Plains. With the personality of the purple-robed young man, he would definitely not mistreat any of them. He had never mistreated any of them. Remember, everything that happens in this space today must not be leaked. Du Xiaofu looked at everyone and said. He had to take this seriously. The soul of the ancient desolate space had specially reminded him not to expose the ancient desolate space. Back then, when the ancient desolate space was disguised as the Heavenly Martial Talisman realm, there were many people who wanted to pry into it. However, they were all deceived by the soul of the ancient desolate space. If others knew that the ancient desolate space was in his possession, all the hidden experts on the continent would definitely attack him without mercy. There would be no place for him to escape. However, Du Xiaofu trusted the fact that he allowed everyone to come in. He didn't doubt the people he used, and he didn't use those he didn't trust. After pausing for a moment, Du Xiaofu glanced at everyone and said slowly, I didn't ask everyone to come here today just to let you enter the Heavenly Martial Talisman realm to comprehend. Everyone should know about Divine Thunder Body Tempering, right? Divine Thunder Body Tempering. Hearing this, everyone's eyes immediately turned to look at Du Xiaofu. Especially the general, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, Ouyang Shuang, and the others who had entered the sealed ancient lands. They knew the benefits of Divine Thunder Body Tempering. The divine thunder cauldron in the sealed ancient lands has already recognized me as its master. As soon as Du Xiaofu finished speaking, he waved his hand and a purple-gold stream of light spread out from his palm. A palm-sized three-legged cauldron immediately circled in his palm. The three-legged cauldron was covered with purple electric arcs and rippled with an ancient aura that made everyone's soul tremble. It was the purple thunder cauldron. As the purple thunder cauldron appeared, its terrifying aura spread out and made everyone's soul tremble. The profound qi and blood in their bodies froze. Divine Thunder Cauldron, that's the Divine Thunder Cauldron. Du Yunlong, the general, Yi Piaoling, Qian Guyu, Silver Fox, and the others narrowed their eyes and shuddered. They immediately recognized the Divine Thunder Cauldron. The Divine Thunder Cauldron that had occupied the sealed ancient lands was now circling in Du Xiaofu's palm. The Divine Thunder Cauldron in the sealed ancient lands has been recognized by the third young master. Eagle King, Gong Dao, Solitary Sword King, Mysterious Dragon King, and the others trembled violently. Damn! Du Xiaoyao could not help but tremble. Her golden eyes suddenly looked up. She definitely did not expect that the terrifying Divine Thunder Cauldron in the sealed ancient lands had been recognized by Du Xiaofu as its master. The Divine Thunder Cauldron has been taken by Brother Xiaofu. The young fort master of the Mu Fort, Mu Zhenghao's eyes almost popped out. The Divine Thunder Cauldron in the sealed ancient lands had been taken away. In the future, there would be no more Divine Thunder Cauldron in the sealed ancient lands. Today, I let everyone in so that everyone can benefit from the Divine Thunder body tempering. I hope everyone can benefit from it. As Du Xiaofu's voice fell, the purple thunder cauldron in his hand was thrown out. It suddenly appeared above the misty space. Boom! Purple thunderclouds appeared and purple electric arcs overflowed around the purple thunder cauldron. The Divine Thunder body tempering. Can we all get the Divine Thunder body tempering? Duo Sha secretly swallowed a mouthful of saliva in his throat and lifted his head to ask Du Xiaofu. Of course. Everyone can get the Divine Thunder body tempering. Du Xiaofu nodded. The purple thunder cauldron had been recognized as its master. The purple gold profound balm could enhance everyone's martial veins and spiritual roots. At that moment, under his control, everyone could benefit from it. Gulp gulp, however, as Du Xiaofu's voice fell, the misty space suddenly froze and fell silent. Only the sounds of inhaling cold air and swallowing of saliva could be heard. Some people's hearts were beating faster. The Divine Thunder body tempering. In every prodigy competition, all the strongest young people in the middle ground would fight with their lives. In the end, only 10 people could get the Divine Thunder body tempering. Now, everyone present could get the Divine Thunder body tempering. How could they not be clear about what they had gained from this? Some people's frozen blood began to boil, some people's eyes were trembling and turning red. They were crying tears of joy. Someone's heartbeat sped up, thumping harder and harder. Thank you, President. Thank you, Third Young Master. Eagle King, Gong Dao, Solitary Sword King, Golden Condor King, and Mysterious Dragon King's eyes turned red. At that moment, they knew very well what kind of benefits they would get. It was a great opportunity that countless experts in the middle ground could not get. Now, because of the purple-robed young man in front of them, they could get it easily. The Divine Thunder body tempering. General, Li Yuxiao, Wu Kei, Sun Ji, and Ghost Child trembled as their eyes shone brightly. A great opportunity. I never thought that I would get such a great opportunity one day. The Divine Thunder body tempering, ha 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 ha. Then, the Divine Thunder Cauldron opened. Eagle King, Gong Dao, Golden Condor King, Solitary Sword King, and the rest were all excited as they jumped into the Divine Thunder Cauldron. In the purple gold profound lightning cauldron, Du Xiaofu controlled it with his mind. Thunder clouds rumbled as the purple gold profound lightning flew out. Everyone started to get the Divine Thunder body tempering to improve their martial veins and spiritual roots. I want to try too. In the purple gold profound lightning cauldron, Du Xiaoyao stood on Du Xiaofu's shoulder. He felt that the purple gold profound lightning was very beneficial to him. He immediately jumped out and transformed into a huge redbone horse monkey in midair. Rumble, the purple gold Xian lightning fell. This time, Du Xiaoyao's head did not emit black smoke from being struck. Instead, his golden, crystalline body absorbed the purple gold Xian lightning into his body as the lightning swept down. His entire body was wrapped in purple lightning arcs. In the purple gold profound lightning cauldron, hundreds of people were bathed in the purple gold profound lightning. It was a magnificent sight. Du Xiaofu looked at everyone with a smile. At this moment, more than 100 people were here. It wouldn't take long for them to rise completely. And they would only be the strongest force by his side in the future. Third brother, is this really the divine thunder cauldron? Only Du Yunlong, who was being held by Du Xiaofu, hadn't undergone the divine thunder body tempering. Although he knew that this was the divine thunder cauldron, he still couldn't believe it. The divine thunder cauldron in the sealed ancient land was taken away by his third brother. This was too unbelievable for Du Yunlong. Unbelievable. For countless years, the 9 great forces hadn't been able to shake it at all. Du Xiaofu smiled and said to his second brother, Du Yunlong, second brother, you can undergo the divine thunder body tempering later. I'll make your body stronger first. As his voice fell, Du Xiaofu's mind moved. Then, he and his second brother, Du Yunlong, came out of the purple gold profound lightning cauldron and entered the ancient desolate space. A pill slowly fell in front of his second brother, Du Yunlong. He said, this is a body protection pill. It can protect your internal organs and resist the high temperature. Second brother, I'm afraid you'll have to suffer a little. However, in the future, you'll be like a tiger that has grown wings. It'll be a great support for you in the future. Come on, hurry up. Second brother can handle it. Du Yunlong smiled and took the pill from Du Xiaofu without any hesitation. Then, he stuffed it into his mouth without any hesitation or contemplation. To Du Yunlong, how could he not trust his third brother in front of him? Then I'll start. Du Xiaofu nodded with a smile. He formed a seal with his hands and the cauldron in front of him immediately condensed. Flames leapt out. At this moment, what Du Xiaofu wanted to do was to use the saint body arts to refine the impurities out of his second brother, Du Yunlong, and strengthen his body. Ah! A moment later, Du Yunlong, who had jumped into the cauldron, let out a blood-curdling scream. The instant his clothes touched the cauldron, they turned into ashes under the high temperature. The flames burned his body. Du Yunlong's hair stood on end. The flames entered his body. Not only his skin, but even the depths of his soul suddenly felt a burning pain. Then, he began to undergo the secret weapon arts refinement. Inside the divine thunder cauldron, over 100 people were undergoing the divine thunder body tempering. Within the ancient desolate space, Du Xiaofu used the secret weapon art to strengthen Du Yunlong's body. In the air outside, the little tiger flapped its wings. It carried Du Xiaoqing, the phantom, the beast killer, the blood fiend vine and a few other terrifying figures. It rushed towards the 7-star hall at full speed. Within the sealed ancient land, in the vast square below the purple lightning profound cauldron. The indestructible square had already cracked long ago. It was covered in spiderweb-like cracks. Dazzling light spread and talisman inscriptions constantly flickered. It was a restriction seal that was constantly cracking, as if something terrifying was about to awaken. Chapter 980. The space was still dark, but the space above the sealed ancient land seemed to be tearing apart. The seal within the sealed ancient land was being torn apart, and stars began to appear in the sky. The stars hung high in the sky. They were cold and scattered as they flickered with light. Dark clouds suddenly gathered in the sky and shrouded the stars. The dark clouds became denser and denser, covering the sky. At this moment, the cracks on the square became bigger and bigger, and the talisman patterns became more and more dazzling. The dark clouds in the sky silently rolled and suddenly released a dazzling light. It was as if there was lightning and thunder in the depths of the sky. A terrifying aura began to be released and spread across the sky. Sigh. At that moment, as lightning flashed and thunder roared, a sigh came from the end of the central plains. The voice was old and long, and it echoed in this space. It was because of this sigh that the terrifying power in the seal under the square seemed to have completely awakened. Rumble, a low rumble came from the ground. It sounded like thunder, and it came from the depths of the square. It came from afar and came rolling towards them. The rumbling sounded as if there were 10,000 beasts galloping, and a peerless demon was about to emerge from the dark underground. Terrifying cracks began to appear in the sky. Dark clouds rolled, lightning flashed, and thunder rumbled. The seal around the vast and boundless sealed ancient land began to dissipate. Inside the sealed ancient land, a figure raised his head and looked at the sky. It was a young man who was walking alone. At this moment, he was attracted by the terrifying commotion in front of him. The young man wore a wide robe and looked to be around 23 or 24 years old. He was tall and had an extraordinary aura. However, at this moment, there was an evil aura coming from the young man's body. He was Qin Yan from the Profound Talisman sect. He was afraid that his fellow sect members would find out that he was bitten by the evil spirit, so he hid. In the end, he miraculously survived and his strength increased greatly. However, just as Qin Yan was feeling happy for himself, he realized that there was no one left in the sealed ancient land. Even the evil spirits that were originally everywhere were gone. Only desolation remained. What is that? Looking at the terrifying commotion in front of him, Qin Yan hesitated for a moment. In the end, he gritted his teeth and walked forward. Rumble, in the silent Holy Thunder Mountain range, the earth shook as if there was an earthquake. It was as if a huge crack had appeared in the sky. The light in the firmament grew brighter and brighter, illuminating the dark and gloomy world in the night. Inside the sealed ancient land, the square under the purple lightning profound cauldron had completely cracked. A terrifying light broke through the ground, and a dazzling light gushed out from the crack in the ground. Finally, a huge black shadow emerged from the dazzling light. The black shadow appeared and then appeared in the sky. Finally, it turned into a pair of giant eyes. It was just a pair of eyes. As the pair of giant eyes appeared, an evil aura surged forth. A murderous aura howled like a gale, and a black fog filled the air. It was as if all the evil aura in the world had gathered at this moment. This pair of eyes seemed to be the most evil thing in the world, able to make all the evil spirits in the 9 Netherland and the 18 levels of hell submit to them respectfully. That pair of terrifying eyes slowly opened. The pupils in the eyes were dark gold, as if they were lifeless. However, the moment the pair of eyes opened, all the mountains in the sealed ancient land cracked in an instant. Outside the sealed ancient land, all the mountains in the Holy Thunder Mountain range trembled, and cracks spread out. The rivers on the ground surged, and the tides rose and fell. Dark clouds gathered in the sky, and lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The surroundings were terrifying. That pair of eyes was like a peerless demon that had walked out from the ground, overlooking the world from the firmament. It looked around as if it was looking for something. Wherever that pair of eyes looked, the tides would rise and fall, as if doomsday had arrived. Evil aura also spread out from the ground. Swoosh swoosh, at this moment, there were several auras that descended from the depths of the world in the central region. These auras were very obscure, but they were the most terrifying existences in the world. You can't trap me. You can't trap me. I'm immortal. Lu Xiaoyu, Long Xian, you can't do anything to me. The pair of eyes spoke, as if the world was speaking. It came from afar, and it made people tremble. Walala, in this part of the sky, the surrounding void began to shatter. Then, the pair of eyes began to disappear into the depths of the firmament, and the eyes began to close. At the moment when the pair of eyes closed, the pair of eyes seemed to have found a small figure below. It was a young man. The pair of dark gold eyes revealed a terrifying gaze, and a faint smile appeared. A ray of light descended from the sky, like a thunderbolt, but it was silent. It was just a gaze, and it was undetectable. Then, it fell on the figure below. Then, the pair of eyes closed, and the surrounding evil aura gathered. Black fog and evil chi covered the sky, and finally disappeared into the depths of the void. Then, the world fell into darkness again. Everything began to return to normal, and the cracks in the ground slowly closed. The cracks in the sky also closed, and only the pair of eyes disappeared into the sky. The evil spirit has awakened, and the great calamity is coming. In this part of the sky, a voice came from the obscure aura. A divine thunder cauldron has disappeared, and the evil spirit has been released. Who has it? An old voice came from the end of the world. The great calamity is coming again. In the unseen world, the wheel of calamity has never stopped spinning. The world is going to change again, and blood is going to flow like a river. A voice that sounded like a man and a woman came from the depths of the void. At dawn, the sun rose, and the earth was reborn. It was as if nothing had happened. However, outside the divine Thunder Mountain range, a vast and boundless space appeared overnight, and it appeared in this world. A young man in a loose robe walked out slowly into the divine Thunder Mountain range, and there was a cold smile in his eyes. Facing the morning sun, he murmured, "Heaven does not disappoint those who persevere. I have finally come out. From now on, my name, Qin Yan, will be known throughout the central region and the world." Swoosh, swoosh, after a while, the aura of many experts arrived in the divine Thunder Mountain range. Looking at the vast land that appeared out of nowhere outside the divine Thunder Mountain range, they were all shocked. The sealed ancient land has opened, and the seal has disappeared. Go and find the treasure. In the next few days, the whole central region was in an uproar. Some people recognized that the vast space outside the divine Thunder Mountain range was the sealed ancient land. Inside the sealed ancient land, there were inheritances passed down from ancient times, and there were countless spiritual weapons, talisman weapons, spiritual medicines, and so on. For a time, all the practitioners in the central region entered the sealed ancient land in a frenzy, looking for all kinds of opportunities. Bang, bang, in the space, because of the treasure hunt, there were all kinds of disputes and conflicts. From time to time, there would be fierce collisions. It was said that the people of the One Valley, 2 religions, 3 sects, 3 schools, and 9 great powers had all entered first, including many experts of the 9 great powers. Those experts of the 9 great powers seemed to be looking for the divine Thunder Cauldron. However, the space was so vast that even the top experts could not cross it in a day. It was unknown whether they found the divine Thunder Cauldron in the end. In the misty space of the ancient desolate space, in the spiritual furnace and talisman cauldron in front of Du Xiaofu, General was burning in flames, and the high temperature burned his body. Ah, General could not help but scream. That terrible temperature seemed to evaporate his soul. His skin, which had been refined by the divine Thunder Cauldron, was burning and shriveling, and immediately made a sizzling sound. However, with the body-protecting elixir, a rich medicinal power spread through General's body, covering his internal organs, and resisting the high temperature that penetrated and caused fatal damage to his internal organs. Qi, qi. Du Xiaofu's hand seals changed, and a white divine energy spread out from his body, causing the misty space to tremble. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was using the holy body art to help General forge his body. Although Du Xiaofu was using the holy body art to refine General's body, it was not as strong as the ancient jade, but it was enough to improve General's physical body by a lot, and it could be refined like a spiritual weapon or talisman weapon. At the same time, it could refine some beastly secret arts and even talisman arrays into the human body. At the end of the refinement, the body could be comparable to a Tao artifact, a Dharma artifact, or a saint artifact. From the Stone Dragon Empire to the 7-star Hall of the Spirit Domain, Du Xiaofu had taken several months to travel from Stone City to the Spirit Domain. At this moment, although the little tiger was fast, it could not arrive in 1 or 2 days. Along with the rest on the way, they still had not reached their destination after flying for 5 days. 5 days was almost 2 months in the ancient desolate space. Inside the purple thunder cauldron in the ancient desolate space, almost 2 months had passed. Almost everyone had succeeded in refining their bodies with the divine thunder cauldron, and all of them had improved their martial veins and spiritual roots. Their strength had increased greatly, and they had obtained great opportunities. Many people had even taken the opportunity to step into the martial emperor realm. One by one, they came out of the purple thunder cauldron, wild with joy. Then, everyone entered the realm of enlightenment in the ancient desolate space and continued to comprehend, challenge, and train. They entered into a frenzied cultivation mode. As for Duo Sha, Silver Fox, Stone, Anya Cha, Ghost Child, Absolute Sword King, Golden Condor King, and the others, their bodies had been refined by Du Xiaofu using the divine body art. For almost 2 months, Du Xiaofu had not been idle. He had been frantically using the divine body art to strengthen everyone's bodies. Therefore, Du Xiaofu became more and more adept at using the divine body art, and his speed became faster and faster. Every time his body was exhausted, Du Xiaofu would consume elixirs and elixirs to recover. The divine thunder cauldron could strengthen the martial veins and spiritual roots, and it could also strengthen the body. The divine body art strengthened the body again and again. In the ancient desolate space, one could comprehend secret skills, beast energy, and various superpowers. They could also continuously train in the realm of battle. Under such frenzied cultivation, Yi Piaoling, Qiangu Yu, Wan Ninggang, Absolute Sword King, Du Yunlong, Eagle King, and the others who had entered the ancient desolate space this time knew clearly that they had obtained amazing benefits. It was a great opportunity that no one could ask for. Chapter 981. Although it had only been a short time, everyone's strength had increased at a terrifying rate. What was even more terrifying was that everyone had not only increased their strength, but also their martial veins and spirit roots. That was the scariest part. If the people from the one valley, 2 churches, 3 sects, and 3 factions knew about this, they would be on pins and needles. They would be deeply fearful. At this rate, the 100 people in the ancient desolate space would become a terrifying force that could affect the existence of the 9 forces in no time. Moreover, Du Xiaofu could continuously create such terrifying experts. With the time in the ancient desolate space, they could grow even more terrifying. If the 9 forces knew about this, they would probably break out in cold sweat just thinking about it. However, no one knew that at this moment, a terrifying force was quietly growing in the ancient desolate space. They were all very young and had terrifying potential. Their growth was limitless. Du Xiaofu was still using the sacred body art. However, he could not use it on Ouyang Shuang, Big Sister Du Xiaoman, and the others. The flames burned their entire bodies. Their clothes were burned, and their bodies were exposed. Du Xiaofu had to avoid it, but he could not do anything about it. Those who had their bodies tempered by Du Xiaofu's sacred body art were all in a miserable state. That kind of pain was indescribable. Ordinary people would not be able to endure it. However, everyone gritted their teeth and endured it. They endured the inhuman pain to build a terrifying body. Duo Sha, Anyang, Yin Tianjue, and the others had joined the Heavenly General Guards because they had seen how terrifying Yi Piaoling and Qiangu Yu's physical bodies were. Now, they had gotten what they wanted. They had obtained the divine lightning body tempering and the ancient desolate space. They were all glad that they had made the choice back then. The silver fox, silver-winged demon eagle, domineering mastiff, blue flame red leopard, and other beasts could also be tempered by Du Xiaofu's sacred body art. However, the consumption of Du Xiaofu's saint body art to refine his demonic beast body was even greater. 8 days later, the little tiger finally arrived at the Alpha Hall of Spirit Realm's 7-star hall. Lin Weiqi, Dong Lidiao, and the others returned with the experts from the various halls. The Imperial Pivot Hall sent people to wait for them. Among them, there were people who had seen the little tiger and Du Shaoqing in the sealed ancient land. Therefore, when little tiger and Du Shaoqing appeared in the vicinity of Alpha Hall, they were immediately recognized and brought back to Alpha Hall. At the back mountain of Dubhe Hall, a beautiful middle-aged woman sat cross-legged on a rock atop a pavilion at the peak of a mountain. Her beautiful figure was moving, and although she seemed to be middle-aged, her bearing was refined as if she was untainted by the mortal world, causing others to exclaim in admiration. "It's been so many days and that kid still hasn't returned. Could something have happened to him? Should we go and take a look?" Inside the pavilion, a burly old man was pacing back and forth, looking very worried. A formless aura spread out from his body, spreading out for no reason. It was incomparably vast. In Alpha Hall, there was no one else who could have such a terrifying aura other than the Hall Master of Alpha Hall, Kuang Zun. "Big brother, why are you still so restless?" "Xiaofu has experts by his side, so there shouldn't be any problems. When he's done with those things, he will naturally rush back," Yu Xianzi said to Kuang Zun, her green palace dress fluttering in the air. Although there wasn't much aura spreading out from her body, one look at her would feel as if they were looking at the boundless universe, unfathomable, and faintly enough to make one's soul throb. As her voice fell, Yu Xianzi seemed to sense something and raised her eyes slightly to look into the distance. Seeing Yu Xianzi's attention, Kuang Zun was slightly startled. Then, he followed Yu Xianzi's gaze and saw several figures in the distance approaching Alpha Hall. "Ha, it should be that talented kid who has returned. Fourth brother's eyes are as sharp as ever. He has taken in a good disciple and brought glory to the 7-star hall." Kuang Zun laughed, overjoyed. "Big brother, don't forget that the kid is Xiahou Fenglei's disciple, not yours," Yu Xianzi said to Kuang Zun with a smile. "Fourth brother's disciple is my disciple. It's the same, the same." Kuang Zun didn't care. After all, they were all disciples of the 7-star hall. As for whose disciple it was, he didn't care. "Greetings, eldest uncle, second uncle." A moment later, Du Xiaofu, who had just come out of the ancient desolate space, bowed to Kuang Zun and Yu Xianzi. His face was slightly pale and his aura was somewhat weak. "What's wrong with you?" Kuang Zun immediately became nervous when he sensed Du Xiaofu's aura and saw Du Xiaofu's pale face. "Eldest uncle, I've overexerted myself. It's not a big deal. In fact, I've gained some benefits." Du Xiaofu smiled. During this period of time in the ancient desolate space, he had displayed the secret weapon art for everyone. The constant overexertion had actually benefited his Yuan spirit. "That's good." Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, Kuang Zun let out a sigh of relief. Then, he patted Du Xiaofu's shoulder and laughed, "Good boy, 1 against 10. Let's see if the 9 great forces still dare to be arrogant in front of the 7-star hall in the future. The 7-star hall has never been so proud." Du Xiaofu smiled apologetically, not knowing what to say at this moment. "It's good that you're fine. Don't worry about your eldest uncle. He's always like this when he's happy." Yu Xianzi stood up and looked at Du Xiaofu with a smile. "Did you get the Yin Spirit Crystal?" "Yes." Du Xiaofu nodded, and the jade box containing the Yin Spirit Crystal appeared in his palm from his Qiankuan bag. Then, he gently handed it over to Second Senior Master Yu. Fairy Yu opened the jade box and a majestic energy fluctuation came out. A palm-sized gloomy ball of light that looked like a dark jade appeared in the jade box. Runes flashed, causing one's primordial spirit to tremble incessantly. "Yin Spirit Crystal, and it's the best Yin Spirit Crystal." "Yes." Yu Xianzi's eyes were filled with surprise and her heart trembled with excitement. "With this Yin Spirit Crystal, fourth brother will be able to recover." Kuang Zun was also very happy. "My 2 uncles, when can you help Master suppress the evil spirits?" Du Xiaofu asked Kuang Zun and Yu Xianzi, hoping that his master could recover as soon as possible. You also need to help suppress the evil spirits. You're the most important one. Yu Xianzi's expression turned serious as she put away the Yin spirit crystal. Then, she frowned slightly and asked Du Xiaofu, your aura is extraordinary. It's so hidden that even I can't be sure. How strong are you now? The peak of the martial path martial emperor realm and the peak of the 7 stars mysterious talisman Dao. I should be able to break through to the next level. Du Xiaofu smiled and said, as for my strength, I've already killed many martial saints who have just become martial saints. You brat. When Kuang Zun heard Du Xiaofu's last sentence, he couldn't help but be shocked. He stared at Du Xiaofu and said, it seems that you've gained a lot of benefits from the sealed ancient lands. I've gained a lot. Du Xiaofu smiled. Thinking about the benefits he had gained from the sealed ancient lands, it was really amazing. The stronger you are, the better. When the time comes, you'll be more confident. Yu Xianzi smiled and looked at Du Xiaofu. 3 days later, you'll help your master suppress the evil spirits. When the time comes, your master's primordial spirit will be freed and he'll be able to recover. You have to rest well during these 3 days. Okay. Du Xiaofu nodded. He could finally prepare for his master's recovery. By the way, Xiaofu, we've found some information about the fella who pretended to be your 5th junior master, GMO. Kuang Zun looked at Du Xiaofu and suddenly said softly. We've found out who he is. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu's eyes flashed with coldness. Back then, that fella had attacked his master, Weapon Lord. Later on, he had attacked him. When he left the sealed ancient lands, that fella had attacked him again. If not for his big brother, Zhenqing Chun, who had arrived in time, the consequences would have been unimaginable. Although Du Xiaofu knew that his strength had increased tremendously and he could take on a normal mysterious martial saint, it was still not enough when compared to the yellow-robed old man. However, he had to find out the background of this person first. If he had the chance in the future, he naturally wouldn't let it go. That fella is called the Yin Thunder Old Man. He's a powerhouse who's more famous than us. We don't know how long he's been alive. Speaking of the Yin Thunder Old Man, Yu Xianzi frowned and said, we've found out that the Yin Thunder Old Man seems to have joined the devil religion. Devil religion. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu was stunned. He was unfamiliar with this force and asked, what force is this? Even your second senior uncle and I don't know much about the devil religion. We only know that the devil religion is a terrifying force. However, it's hidden very deeply and has existed for a long time. The 9 forces should know more about it than us. If you have the chance, you can ask the ancient heaven sect. Kuang Zun frowned and said to Du Xiaofu, this devil religion doesn't only exist in the central region. It's said that they were everywhere in the other regions. However, they didn't dare to show themselves because they were afraid of some terrifying forces and clans in this world. They have always been silent in the dark. I didn't expect them to target our 7-star hall. Other regions? There are other regions in this world? Du Xiaofu was stunned when he heard Kuang Zun's words. The central region was so vast that he probably hadn't even traveled a tenth of it. Listening to Kuang Zun's words, it seemed that the central region wasn't the only region in this world. This shocked Du Xiaofu. Do you think there's only one central region in this world? Kuang Zun looked at Du Xiaofu and smiled, this world is so vast. The central region is only one of the many Kyushu. There are also countless dangerous places, secret places, and barren places that no one has ever set foot in. Chapter 982. There are 9 prefectures in the world. The area of each prefecture is no less than that of the central prefecture. The forces in each prefecture are huge. They are not inferior to the 3 sects, 3 schools, 1 valley, and 2 religions of the central prefecture. In this world, there are countless hidden forces and experts. Kuang Zun looked at Du Xiaofu and said, the devil religion has a strange origin and is unfathomable. It seems that they have their eyes on you and your master. Maybe it's not because of the purple gold heavenly palace that your master refined, so you must be careful. Devil religion, Du Xiaofu's eyes widened. If it wasn't for the purple gold heavenly palace, he wouldn't know why the devil religion had their eyes on him and his master. Du Xiaofu thought to himself. The next time he went to the ancient heaven sect, he must ask his master Gu Qingyang and his senior brother if they knew about the origin of the devil religion. Eldest uncle, how are things between us and the divine light court? Du Xiaofu asked. From Sima Muhan and his master Gu Qingyang, he already knew that the Seven-Star Hall and the Divine Light Court were at war, and the situation seemed to be quite intense. Hearing this, Kuang Zun's expression changed slightly. The Divine Light Court's strength seems to have increased a lot in recent years. The Seven-Star Hall has received news that the Divine Light Court seems to have hidden traces of other forces. Kuang Zun paused for a moment, then smiled at Du Xiaofu and said, "But we don't have to worry about the Divine Light Court. The Divine Light Court won't be able to produce a second ancestor of the Divine Light Court. The current strength of the Divine Light Court is not enough to deal with the Seven-Star Hall. Your fifth uncle should be about to succeed in his breakthrough soon. When your master recovers, we'll have the time to make the Divine Light Court disappear." As his voice fell, a cold light flashed in Kuang Zun's eyes. Du Xiaofu smiled. It seemed that his eldest uncle's temper wasn't too good. Recently, there had been a lot of things to do in the Seven-Star Hall. When everything was settled, he would probably deal with the Divine Light Court. The most important thing for you now is to prepare to help your master suppress the soul of the murderous weapon in 3 days, Yu Xianzi said to Du Xiaofu. Yes. Du Xiaofu nodded. It's said that the Divine Light Court and you have some grudges. When your master and your fifth uncle's breakthrough, whether it's because of the Seven-Star Hall or because of you, we will settle the Divine Light Court. And we, old guys, we will stand behind you. The Seven-Star Hall will also, the Seven-Star Hall, Kuang Zun patted on Xiaofu, Zun's S was it? Were the was there? Was the you, we, the you or you, the seven master, or you or you. We, the as well you, the you, we, you, of the divine, I. Du Xiaofu nodded and left. That boy is truly ferocious. I've heard that Lin Weiqi, Dong Lijiao, Sun Tian and the other members of the younger generation have all accepted him wholeheartedly. Now that the news has spread, the Seven Stars Palace will be merged into one. In the future, the burden of the Seven Stars Palace will fall onto his shoulders. Kuang Zun looked at the back of the purple-robed young man with a smile. You're anxious. After all, he is still young. It may be too tiring for him to bear such a big burden. Yu Xianzi's eyebrows relaxed, a smile in her eyes. She had no objection to Du Xiaofu being the young master of the Seven-Star Halls. I have to be anxious. If I don't hurry up, I reckon some old foxes of the ancient sky sect will do something. Kuang Zun grinned proudly. Mountain Peak, Courtyard, Room. This was the core of the Alpha Hall, surrounded by Phantom, Bloodvine Spirit, Beast Killer and Hun Xie. In the room, Du Xiaofu brought Du Xiaoqing and Little Tiger into the ancient desolate space. With Little Tiger's terrifying physique and the bloodline of the dark heavenly tiger, Du Xiaofu did not need to use the sacred body art. He just let Little Tiger enter the purple lightning profound cauldron to be refined by the divine thunder. And Du Xiaoqing, under Du Xiaofu's arrangement, entered the enlightenment realm to comprehend. Phew! In the misty ancient desolate space, Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged, deep in thought. Then, he exhaled a mouthful of turbid air, and a determined look appeared on his face. He murmured softly, "Mother, sister, father, it won't be long before I set foot in that clan again. No matter how strong that clan is, wait for me." Du Xiaofu waited quietly for a while, then stuffed some elixirs into his mouth, formed a hand seal, and began to cultivate. A moment later, Du Xiaofu's body was enveloped in a white light. His aura was ancient, like a divine light. Recently, Du Xiaofu's focus had been on martial arts because he had been in the sealed ancient lands. But now that his spiritual root had awakened, coupled with the effect of the mysterious cultivation technique, Du Xiaofu felt that his cultivation of talisman Taoism was getting twice the result with half the effort. Especially for the power of his primordial spirit, the progress was extremely fast. Recently, he had used the saint body art to refine the body for everyone. Time and time again, he consumed and then recovered. Recently, Du Xiaofu also felt signs of another breakthrough. 3 days later, he would have to suppress the soul of the murderous weapon to free his master's primordial spirit. At this moment, Du Xiaofu also wanted to take the opportunity to try to break through. If he could make further progress in talisman Taoism, he would naturally be more confident. Outside the spirit domain, the entire central continent was getting more and more excited. Forces big and small rushed to the ancient land in front of the divine Thunder Mountain to search for treasures. There were constantly people who had found treasures, and some people had obtained inheritances. This made everyone's eyes turn red with envy, and they all crowded into the ancient land. And in this lively atmosphere, the news that 6 martial revered masters of the Divine Light Court and hundreds of elite disciples of the Great Will sect had been killed by Du Xiaofu in the Stone Dragon Empire also spread and shook the central continent. The 7-star hall had merged into one. The chief hall master was Dong Zhiyan, the mad revered, and the young hall master was Du Xiaofu, the disciple of the weapon revered Xiahou Fenglei. He was also the junior brother of Sima Taxing, the master of the ancient heaven sect. When this news spread, many forces, big and small, had to stop thinking about it. In the entire central continent, the 2 hottest topics were the appearance of the sealed ancient land and Du Xiaofu. At night, the stars in the sky were like scales rippling in the sea, flickering. The mountains were boundless, and the giant cities were all covered by the curtain of night. It was like a black dragon winding across the horizon. The mountains overlapped, and the palaces stood tall, as if a heavenly palace had descended to the mortal world. The opportunity has come. It's time to act. In a huge palace, a strange light spread out, and a dignified and indifferent voice sounded. A figure wrapped in lightning appeared, and the person's face could not be seen clearly. Electric arcs rippled around this person, and the light was like a miniature lightning ball. The surrounding electric arcs flickered like silver snakes, and enveloped his entire body. A terrifying pressure spread out, and it was destructive and domineering. When this person stood there, no one dared to approach, and could only look up. Envoy, Xiahou Fenglei's primordial spirit should be in Du Xiaofu's body. Our people have discovered that Du Xiaofu has already arrived at Alpha Hall. Even he might have a type of spiritual lightning on him. In the hall, a yellow-robed old man spoke. His deep eyes seemed to flicker with some electric arcs, and his aura was fierce. If Du Xiaofu was here, he would definitely recognize this person. This was the yellow-robed old man who had pretended to be 5th senior uncle Ji Mo's minister in the Alioth Hall, and attacked him at the entrance of the sealed ancient land. His eldest senior uncle had found out that he was called the Enlightening Old Man, and was a terrifying expert who had been famous for a long time. However, at this moment, the Enlightening Old Man was extremely respectful in front of the mysterious lightning figure, and there was even an imperceptible fear. Alpha Hall. The lightning figure moved, and then lightning shot out from his eyes like a sea of lightning. He said, "The matter of Xiahou Fenglei has been delayed for so long, and we can't delay it any longer. The descendants of that clan have been found, and the world is about to change. We have to gather everything we need as soon as possible. Let's do it." Envoy, are you going to do it yourself? There was a third person in the center of the hall. He was an old man who looked to be in his 70s, and his voice was dignified and powerful. His eyes were dazzling, and it was as if he could look down on the world and shake the entire central continent. However, at this moment, this old man was equally respectful to the lightning figure. It's not good to expose the devil religion. Your divine light court is fighting with the 7-star hall, so you should do it yourself. No matter what price you have to pay, you must bring back Xiahou Fenglei's primordial spirit. Also, bring back Du Xiaofu, the lightning figure said lightly. Envoy, the 7-star hall is not weak. If we want to take down the 7-star hall, I'm afraid we will have to pay a heavy price. The old man in his 70s secretly gritted his teeth. He still had some misgivings about the 7-star hall. Divine Light, we were able to turn the Divine Light Palace from a second-rate force into a first-rate force in the central continent in just a few decades. We were able to turn you from an oil lamp to your current cultivation level. You have to know that all of this was given to you by us. If you don't want it, I can take it back at any time. The lightning figure said indifferently, and a terrifying and destructive aura fluctuated, causing the entire hall to tremble for no reason. Envoy, please don't be angry. I'm just worried about bringing too much loss to the Divine Light Court. Of course, I won't forget that the entire Divine Light Palace was given to me by you. Hearing this, the old man in his 70s expression changed slightly. After hesitating for a moment, he continued, in addition, we encountered an accident this time and the Imperial Dragon Qi of the Stone Dragon Empire has been taken away by someone else. Who took away the Imperial Dragon Qi of the Stone Dragon Palace? Hearing this, the lightning figure's eyes darkened. It could be someone from the Great Luan sect, the old man in his 70s said with a slight frown. The Great Luan sect seems to be related to that clan. The lightning figure was silent for a moment. Then, he said in an indifferent and dignified voice, Divine Light, bring back Xiahou Fenglei's primordial spirit. I will remember this as a big blow to you. You have always wanted to break through the last step. When the time comes, you will have a chance. In addition, I will ask Yin Lei to help you. Thank you, Envoy. The old man in his 70s was delighted to hear this. Chapter 983. Get Xiahou Fenglei's Yuan spirit back as soon as possible. As soon as the indifferent and dignified voice fell, the lightning figure disappeared from the hall along with the fluctuation of the silver lightning snake's light. Shenguang, inform me when you're ready. I'll bring some people to help you. Xiahou Fenglei's Yuan spirit cannot be harmed again. After the Yin lightning old man finished speaking, he disappeared into thin air. Looking at the disappearing figure and the Yin lightning old man, a cold glint flashed across the old man's eyes. He muttered to himself, where is the item in Tianwu Academy? If I can obtain it, I won't have to be controlled by you, in the desolate ancient space in the courtyard. Du Xiaofu's body was surrounded by a dazzling white light. The space around him was blurry, and there was an unknown source of energy rippling through it. This energy continuously flowed into Du Xiaofu's body and gathered in his Yuan spirit in his Naiwen palace. As the energy absorbed by his Yuan spirit grew stronger and stronger, the surroundings of the misty space gradually became more and more intense. A formless wave that was invisible to the naked eye began to quietly spread out, and finally spread throughout the entire misty space. Boom! At the same time, in the 7-star hall, the energy of heaven and earth gathered around Du Xiaofu's courtyard. It started to ripple violently and eventually spread throughout the entire space. As the energy spread out, it caused the surrounding space to ripple. It immediately attracted the attention of many Alpha Hall disciples. The energy was extremely strange. It gave off an ancient aura. Many spiritual beasts within the Alpha Hall sensed something and let out low growls. What a powerful Yuan spirit! There's also the aura of an extraordinary spiritual root. It's coming from where that brat is. Is that brat breaking through? On the mountain peak, Kuang Zun appeared. He looked at the courtyard where Du Xiaofu was. His eyes flickered as he muttered, what an unfathomable brat. In the desolate ancient space, Du Xiaofu was completely immersed in his cultivation. Unknowingly, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit in his Naiwen palace was undergoing tremendous changes. The primordial spirit was condensed from one spirit and soul. Spirit and soul were the most ethereal and illusory things, but they were the foundation of any living being. They were real existences. For a spiritual talisman master, only when he reached the level of a 7-star spiritual talisman master could the soul in his Naiwan palace condense into a physical object and transform into a primordial spirit. The stronger one's soul power was, the stronger one's primordial spirit would be. It was rumored that those top spirit talisman masters could move mountains and seas with a single thought when they used the power of the primordial spirit. Time passed slowly. In the desolate ancient space, time was controlled by Du Xiaofu to be 10 times faster. Everyone was cultivating and comprehending to their heart's content. There was no need to worry about time. In the outside world, 3 days passed slowly and quietly. At dusk, the setting sun shrouded the sky. In the courtyard at the peak of the mountain, Phantom was dressed in bright red. She leaned against the wooden corridor in the courtyard. Her graceful body drew an alluring arc in the afterglow of the sunset. The arc in front of her was white and white, forming a full and deep cleavage. If the young men in Alpha Hall saw this scene, they would probably have a nosebleed. What a powerful primordial spirit! Looking at the energy gathering at the peak of the mountain, Han Xia raised his head slightly. The faint blood-red light in his eyes revealed his shock. Walala, as Han Xia's voice fell, a loud explosion sounded in the sky. The energy surged wildly and shook the 9 heavens. An invisible and vast primordial spirit power spread out from the peak of the mountain like a tide. It swept out in all directions at lightning speed. So powerful. It's actually not weaker than us. Feeling the terrifying primordial spirit power, Shou Sha's expression changed. His eyes flashed with shock. The spirit root is very powerful. Not far away, Jiangchen stood quietly. Feeling the vast primordial spirit power released from the room, the spirit root's aura moved him even more. Third young master has made a breakthrough again. Phantom smiled gently. Her smile was so moving that it was enough to make any man lose their soul. What a powerful spirit root. In Alpha Hall, the vast primordial spirit power spread out in all directions in the air. At this moment, many Alpha Hall disciples could feel the terrifying spirit root pressure. The spirit root in their Naiwan palace trembled slightly. Not only is this kid's physical body strong, even his primordial spirit is not ordinary. His spirit root is also not ordinary. He is really abnormal. Not far away, Fairy Yu's figure quietly appeared in the sky. She smiled faintly. Her temperament was untainted by the mortal world. Around the courtyard, the terrifying primordial spirit power spread out like a tide. It only spread for a while before it slowly dissipated. The next morning, Du Xiaofu walked out of his room. Facing the morning sun, he bathed in the morning light. There was a smile on his determined face. He looked extraordinary. Third young master. Phantom, Shou Sha, Han Xia, and Blood Vine Sha bowed. Sensing the formless aura spreading from the purple-robed young man, Phantom and the others inwardly trembled. The former's spirit root aura fluctuated as if he had just made a breakthrough. Even their hearts trembled when they felt it. No need for formalities. Although you will follow me for 100 years, there is no need to be overly courteous. Du Xiaofu said to the 4 of them. Then he walked over to Jiangchen and said, "Let's go. You should be able to take out your corpse core to deal with the spirit root today. This is what I promised you." Okay. Jiangchen nodded slightly. His deep, pitch-black eyes glowed. His corpse core leaving his body was an extremely dangerous thing for him. If it wasn't Jiangchen, but another zombie, it probably wouldn't have lasted until now. Moments later, at the back of Alpha Hall, a towering mountain pierced the clouds. It was an imposing sight. Swoosh swoosh, Du Xiaofu and Jiangchen landed on the mountain peak. There were already 3 people waiting for them. Of the 3 figures, one looked to be in his 60s and was dressed as a medicine talisman master. Another looked to be in his 40s and wore a purple robe with patterns on it. Even his hair was purple. The last was an old man in his 70s. He was well built, and his robe was embroidered with star patterns. He looked like a living creature and emanated an oppressive aura. The three of them stood quietly on the mountain peak. Invisible energy rippled around them, causing the space around them to faintly distort. They gave off an extremely dangerous feeling. Du Xiaofu stared blankly at the three people in front of him. Then, a look of pleasant surprise appeared on his face. He immediately bowed and said, "Greetings, third martial uncle, sixth martial uncle, and seventh martial uncle." These three people were the Tianji Hall's venerated Pill, the Mizar Hall's venerated Purple Tianzuan, and the Alcade Hall's venerated Qian Xing. Du Xiaofu guessed that these three martial uncles had appeared in Alpha Hall because of his master's primordial spirit. Seeing venerated Pill, venerated Purple Tianzuan, and venerated Qian Xing, and sensing their auras, Jiangchen was secretly moved. "Ha, good boy. You've brought honor to the 7-star hall. You're worthy of being fourth brother's disciple." Upon seeing Du Xiaofu, venerated Purple Tianzuan smiled and patted Du Xiaofu's shoulder. His facial features were sculpted, and it was obvious that he must have been handsome when he was young. Even now, his temperament was extraordinary and he exuded the air of a noble ruler. Among the 7 hall masters of the 7-star hall, venerated Purple Tianzuan's cultivation and strength had always been at the forefront. It was not easy for him to acknowledge Du Xiaofu from the bottom of his heart. In the future, when the people from the 9 great forces see the 7-star hall, they won't be arrogant. Venerated Qian Xing smiled. He looked to be in his 70s, but his body was still muscular. His long robe was embroidered with star patterns, and it looked like a living creature. "All right, let's go in. Your great martial uncle and second martial uncle have already made arrangements inside." Venerated Pill smiled at Du Xiaofu. Then, he flicked his sleeve, and a spatial fluctuation spread out. The mysterious patterns on the talisman fluctuated, and they entered. A seal. Du Xiaofu's eyes moved. It was an extremely powerful seal. Judging from the traces of its aura, it seemed to have been set up by Fairy Yu. "Don't be in a daze. This seal was set up by your second martial uncle to suppress the spirit of the weapon. It should cause a big commotion, so we need to seal this space." Venerated Purple Tianzuan said to Du Xiaofu, and then pulled Du Xiaofu into the seal. Everyone entered, and the space fluctuated. There were other small tricks in this seal as well. Soon after, everyone appeared in a rather empty space. Kuang Zun and Yu Xianzi were already waiting for them. At this moment, beside Fairy Yu, there was a man in his 50s sitting cross-legged. His long black hair draped over his shoulders, and a red robe covered his body. He had a wide forehead and a square face, but there was no vitality in his body. Only a rune between his eyebrows remained. There seemed to be lightning flashing faintly, maintaining the last trace of vitality. "Master." Du Xiaofu stepped forward. It was the physical body of his master, venerated weapon. "You're all here. Then let's get ready." Fairy Yu looked at Du Xiaofu, Jiangchen, and venerated Pill. She frowned slightly, and her expression was grave. She said, "His primordial spirit is suppressing the evil spirit in the purple gold heavenly palace. Once it is affected, I'm afraid that he and the evil spirit will both be injured. In the worst case, his weapon will be destroyed and his primordial spirit will die. So, we must be careful. With our strength, suppressing the evil spirit shouldn't be too much of a problem." Venerated Kuang frowned and looked worriedly at Du Xiaofu. He said, "But I don't know if Xiaofu can resist it. The key lies with Xiaofu." Du Xiaofu knew what venerated Kuang meant. If they joined forces, they would naturally be able to suppress the evil spirit. However, if they forcefully suppressed the evil spirit, the purple gold heavenly palace would be destroyed or damaged. The best way was to let the new weapon spirit grow stronger. Only then would it have a chance to devour the evil spirit. Du Xiaofu smiled and said to venerated Kuang and the others, "Don't worry, Uncle Masters. I will do my best." My new weapon spirit in the purple gold heavenly palace has obtained some benefits in the sealed ancient land. I'm afraid it won't be much weaker than the evil spirit. Chapter 984. With that, Du Xiaofu untied the square box on his back. Boom! The purple gold heavenly tower appeared, accompanied by the roars of dragons, tigers, birds and tortoises. Dazzling talisman runes shot up into the sky from the body of the sword. Terrifying power erupted like a volcano, shaking the entire sealed space and causing rumbling sounds to ring out. Du Xiaofu held the purple gold heavenly tower in his hand. The terrifying aura it emitted was like a peerless divine weapon awakening. An invisible baleful aura was suppressed within the sword, unable to leak out. The new weapon spirit is so powerful. Alchemy Senior was surprised. She had personally inspected the purple gold heavenly tower before, so she could feel the changes in it. Du Xiaofu then told Kuang Zun, Yu Xianzi and Alchemy Senior about Jiangqin's corpse core and the weapon spirit in the weapon space. It's a zombie body. No wonder its aura is so strange. Alchemy Senior, Yu Xianzi and Kuang Zun looked at Jiangqin. They finally knew his identity. It's your great fortune to be able to obtain such a weapon spirit. It seems like our chances of success are much higher. Yu Xianzi smiled faintly. The new artifact spirit was directly transformed from the powerful artifact spirit. With such a powerful artifact spirit, it was naturally much easier to deal with the ominous weapon spirit. Then let's begin. Let's not delay and let Old Four recover. Amethyst Venerable said with a smile. Xiaofu, your great martial uncle, fifth martial uncle and seventh martial uncle will suppress the purple gold heavenly tower from the outside. Your third martial uncle and I will enter the purple gold heavenly tower with our primordial spirits and suppress the evil spirit together. Your primordial spirit will follow us in and control the new weapon spirit to destroy the evil spirit. Yu Xianzi said to Du Xiaofu. When suppressing the evil spirit, my corpse core might be able to help. Jiangqin said to Du Xiaofu. He couldn't enter the purple gold heavenly tower with his primordial spirit, but he could control his corpse core from the outside. Of course, this required someone to suppress the evil spirit. Then let's begin. As soon as Kuang Zun's voice fell, he, Zi Tianzuan, and Qian Xing all moved in unison. Hand seals condensed in the center of their palms, turning into dazzling talisman runes. Powerful energy fluctuations distorted the space around them. Finally, a net of light covered the purple gold heavenly palace. Roar! Within the violet gold heavenly palace, the roars of dragons and tigers resounded, bringing about the sound of wind and thunder. The body of the sword clanged, the violet gold light spilled out, and the runes flowed, causing the surrounding space to rumble and tremble violently. Walala! At this moment, the fierce spirit within the purple gold heavenly palace seemed to have sensed something. It began to emit a surging baleful aura. The frightening baleful aura that spread out immediately caused one's heart to palpitate and his soul to tremble. Do it! Enter the purple gold heavenly palace with your primordial spirit. Seeing this, Alchemy Venerate sat down with his legs crossed. A stream of light flew out from his glabella, and a small body that was identical to his original body flew out like a baby. It was rippling with a terrifying primordial spirit aura. It was Alchemy Venerate's primordial spirit. It was wrapped in runes, and the spiritual fluctuations were powerful enough to distort the surrounding space. Fairy Yu moved next. Light flickered between her glabella, and her primordial spirit body also appeared. The terrifying fluctuations were not any weaker than Alchemy Venerate's. Du Xiaofu sat down with his legs crossed. He formed a hand seal and closed his eyes. Dazzling runes spread out from his glabella, slowly appearing in front of everyone's eyes. The light faded, and a figure appeared. Upon closer inspection, it was Du Xiaofu's appearance. However, compared to Du Xiaofu's body, this figure was like a baby. It was also extremely illusory. This illusory Du Xiaofu had an ancient and boundless aura. It even had a unique violet gold color, which was the result of being refined by the purple gold profound balm. At this moment, the aura of this illusory Du Xiaofu was not as strong as Fairy Yu's and alchemy venerates primordial spirits. However, the fluctuation of the aura made Kuang Zun, Fairy Yu, alchemy venerate, Zi Tianzuan, and Qian Xing's expressions change. How can a 7-star talisman master have such a strong primordial spirit? It is comparable to an 8-star talisman master. That aura is even more extraordinary. The primordial spirit of the pill venerate could feel the pressure of the soul aura emanating from Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit. Even with his cultivation and knowledge, he could not help but be astonished. Alright, let's go in. Fairy Yu's primordial spirit spoke. Then, her primordial spirit body turned into a divine light. Like a bolt of lightning, she swept straight into the purple gold heavenly palace, which was suspended in mid-air by Kuang Zun, Zi Tianzuan, and Qian Xing, Qi Qi, alchemy venerate and Du Xiaofu's primordial spirits followed closely behind. The space was dark and gloomy, and there were many dazzling runes soaring into the sky. The oppressive aura was like a volcanic eruption. You can't trap me. You can't trap me. In the dazzling runes in the distance, there were gusts of wind and thunder. Ghosts were crying and gods were howling. There was a terrifying demonic aura sweeping across. Suppress. In the dazzling runes, there was a terrifying aura fluctuating. The runes were spreading, and the soul power was surging. That was a primordial spirit seal. In front of the dazzling runes, there was a pale golden ball of light the size of a baby's fist. The dazzling pale golden runes were dazzling like fireworks. However, the pale golden ball of light was enveloped by an extremely demonic aura that was about to devour it. The demonic aura seemed to have come from the underworld. It was about to break free from the suppression of the primordial spirit seal. The demonic aura swept across as if it came from the demonic realm. It was about to devour the pale golden ball of light. Qi Qi, 3 illusory figures of primordial spirits appeared in the space. The 3 auras fell and immediately caused the space to fluctuate. Who is it? There was a loud roar from within the demonic aura. Third brother, Fairy Yu, why are you here? Xiaofu is my disciple. You are able to condense your primordial spirit. You have made great progress in your cultivation. There was a voice in the primordial spirit seal. On the seal, an illusory figure appeared happily. It was the primordial spirit of Xiahou Fenglei. Greetings, Master. Looking at the primordial spirit, Du Xiaofu was delighted. Fourth brother, it's time for us to lend you a hand. Alchemy Master smiled when he saw Weapon Master. He was very happy. Let's talk later. First brother, sixth brother, and seventh brother, suppress the primordial spirit outside. Let's get down to business, Fairy Yu said to Weapon Master. Looking at the demonic aura in the primordial spirit seal, her illusory eyes narrowed. Okay, let's talk later. Weapon Master Xiahou Fenglei smiled. Seeing that Fairy Yu and Alchemy Master were with Du Xiaofu, he could more or less guess what was going on outside. Compared to his initial worst-case scenario, the current situation was much better. This evil spirit is not easy to deal with. I don't know where the zombie core came from, but it has ruined my plan. If it devours it, I won't be able to suppress it anymore. I'm afraid that I won't be able to stop it from devouring the zombie core. Weapon Master said. The zombie core was extraordinary. If it was devoured by the evil spirit, it would be like adding wings to a tiger. The zombie core is my mistake. Du Xiaofu smiled bitterly. He had used the purple gold heavenly palace to deal with Jiangchen. In the end, the evil spirit took the opportunity to take away Jiangchen's zombie core. The zombie core is extraordinary. Fortunately, it hasn't fallen into the evil spirit's body. Weapon Master said with a serious expression. He then said to Fairy Yu and Weapon Master, you are here. First brother, sixth brother, and seventh brother are also outside. It won't be too difficult to suppress and destroy the evil spirit. However, I'm afraid that it will destroy the weapon I refined. Master, don't worry. The purple gold heavenly palace won't be destroyed. Du Xiaofu smiled. With a thought, the new weapon spirit of the purple gold heavenly palace appeared in front of him. Wang! It was an illusory purple gold heavenly palace. Vast and mighty pressure spread out with an ancient aura. The sound of wind and thunder surged and clanged. This was the new weapon spirit of Du Xiaofu's purple gold heavenly palace. It was sealed in the weapon space of the ancient land and condensed from countless weapon spirits. Du Xiaofu hadn't used the new weapon spirit to help his master seal the evil spirit. He was afraid that if he was careless, it would be more of a hindrance than a help. The seal of the original spirit was no small matter. If there was a mistake, the weapon master's original spirit would be greatly affected or even severely injured. At this moment, the new weapon spirit's aura was the opposite of the evil spirit's. The evil spirit's aura was monstrous. The new weapon spirit was both good and evil, but its aura was definitely not much weaker than the evil spirit's. Why is this weapon spirit so strong? The weapon master saw the new weapon spirit in the purple gold heavenly palace and felt the vigorous aura that was both good and evil. He was extremely shocked. He could feel that the new weapon spirit was extraordinary. It's not that easy to do anything to me. The evil spirit roared. At this moment, it also sensed the danger. Suddenly, a fierce aura burst out. It was so terrifying that it made the surroundings feel like it was being destroyed. Rumble. At the same time, the space trembled. Countless talismans and mysterious runes appeared above the void like a heavenly net, suppressing the void space. Mad Master and the others have already made their move. Let's begin. Yu Xianzi's original spirit looked up and said to Du Xiaofu softly, "We will help your master suppress the evil spirit. You control the new weapon spirit and take the opportunity to destroy the evil spirit. Be careful." Du Xiaofu nodded. Around the body of the original spirit, an ancient aura fluctuated and a faint purple gold color swept past. "Then let's do it." The alchemy master's original spirit shouted and formed a hand seal. A large number of talismans and mysterious runes fluctuated and turned into a dazzling light. Finally, like a thunderbolt, it wrapped around the evil spirit that was sealed in the weapon master's original spirit. Swish, Yu Xianzi made her move at the same time. The dazzling light was like the brightest star. It turned into a talisman light and suddenly enveloped the evil spirit. "You can't do anything to me." At the same time, the evil spirit roared and emitted a dazzling light. It formed a terrifying vortex of evil spirit. The evil spirit's aura swept out like a hurricane. Under the terrifying evil spirit's aura, an ordinary person who had just become a martial honor would have their soul shattered. "Brothers, Xiao Yu has a date tonight. He took a break for one night. Today, he has 2 chapters. If he comes back early, he will make up for it tonight. If he comes back late, he can only come back tomorrow." Chapter 985. The space trembled as a terrifying demonic aura rippled wildly, devouring the energy of heaven and earth. It absorbed the primordial spirit seal of the weapon sovereign, as well as the primordial spirit of Yu Xianzi and alchemy venerated. Under this frenzied absorption, the primordial spirits of the 3 top experts were shaken. Above the void, dazzling talisman runes released a powerful suppressive force, sealing the weapon sovereign's primordial spirit. The primordial spirits of Yu Xianzi and alchemy venerated restrained the demonic vortex. "Don't think you can do anything to me." Within the demonic vortex, a dazzling light bloomed like the sun. No one dared to look directly at it. A vague illusory head appeared in the sky, like the head of a demon god. A monstrous demonic aura swept out. The head of the demon god wanted to kill everything. Whoosh! Jiangshan's corpse core had been suppressed by the demonic spirit. Now, it finally found an opportunity. The dazzling light of golden talisman runes shone like fireworks. An extremely demonic black aura swept out, as if from the depths of hell. It broke free from the demonic spirit's suppression and began to counterattack. Be destroyed. The head of the demon god roared. Countless sword rays sealed the weapon sovereign's primordial spirit. Yu Xianzi, alchemy venerated, and the talisman runes around them shot out. Woo woo, when the sword rays appeared, ghosts cried and gods howled. They drew streaks of purple-gold light in the sky. Like purple-gold lightning, the demonic aura descended, destroying everything. Chi chi chi, the sword light was terrifying, but under the suppression of the corpse core and the many experts, it was completely locked down by the seals. Although the demonic spirit was strong, under the suppression of several top experts, it had no choice but to be restrained. Roar, the new artifact spirit roared. At this moment, it looked at the head of the demon god formed by the demonic spirit. Ancient talisman runes bloomed, vaguely absorbing the energy of the surrounding space. It looked like it was about to pounce, shocking everyone. Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit looked up. He felt the aura of the artifact spirit fluctuating, as if it wanted to do something. The artifact spirit used to be the artifact spirit in the weapon space. It had already begun to communicate. Although it had become the artifact spirit of the purple gold heavenly palace, it still had its own consciousness. It was just that Du Xiaofu controlled it. You seem to be doing something. Then go. With a thought, Du Xiaofu controlled the new spirit tool to fly towards the evil spirit. Roar, the new artifact spirit roared, the demonic spirit, the divine weapon spirit looked down on the demonic spirit. The moment Du Xiaofu activated it, it charged directly toward the demonic spirit. At this moment, the new artifact spirit soared into the sky. It completely ignored the terrifying aura that erupted from the fiend god bestial soul and instantly shot into the energy vortex around it. Not demonic spirit, demonic spirit, demonic spirit, demonic spirit. It demonic spirits demonic spirit, the demonic dragon demonic was it? Although it was, it too Zance was, it. Retreat, Du Xiaofu's origin spirit was shocked. He immediately controlled the new artifact spirit to retreat. Although the demonic spirit was suppressed, it was not easy to destroy it. Roar, suddenly, unexpectedly, the new artifact spirit advanced instead of retreating. The roars of dragons and tigers, the cries of birds and tortoises could be heard. The appearance of the purple gold heavenly palace then changed. Faint shadows of the azure dragon soared into the sky, the white tiger entrenched, the phoenix flapped its wings, and the black tortoise divine turtle suppressed the world. Chi! Afterwards, all of this seemed to have turned into a bolt of lightning, directly piercing through space and landing on the head of the god fiend. With an unstoppable force, the head of the god fiend was blasted to pieces. Rumble, space trembled, accompanied by the incessant cries of ghosts. Hum! The new artifact spirit roared. It opened its mouth like a vortex and began to devour the spirit of the demonic spirit. Everything happened as fast as lightning. Before Du Xiaofu could react, the terrifying demonic spirit had been destroyed. This change shocked the origin spirits of Honorable Refiner, Fairy Yu, and Honorable Alchemy. The demonic spirit that they had been suppressing was destroyed by the new artifact spirit so easily. It was even devouring the spirit's energy. I understand. This new artifact spirit was originally born in the space inside the sealed ancient land. It was an ancient battlefield. Countless ancient experts had divine weapons that were of a higher level than divine weapons. They fought and destroyed the divine weapons, leaving behind fragments. The remnant artifact spirits in the divine weapon fragments devoured each other to strengthen themselves over a long period of time. It became an instinct to devour. Then, this artifact spirit was born. This artifact spirit contains the power of the ancient divine weapons. Finally, it was born with intelligence. Now, This artifact spirit has become the artifact spirit of the purple gold heavenly palace. This is equivalent to its real space. That's why it can completely destroy the spirit of the demonic weapon. Honorable Alchemy's origin spirit was shocked. This artifact spirit was definitely extraordinary. Whoosh, the seal on the origin spirit of Honorable Refiner shrank, and his origin spirit body appeared. He looked at Du Xiaofu, who was still in shock, and said, "This artifact spirit is extraordinary. It can devour the energy of other artifact spirits to strengthen itself. Although the demonic spirit has been destroyed, you have to watch it completely absorb the demonic spirit's energy. Don't be careless." "Okay," Du Xiaofu nodded, and his origin spirit body smiled. Back then, in the weapon space, the artifact spirit was devoured by the artifact spirit. He didn't expect that after becoming a new artifact spirit, it still maintained its terrifying devouring ability and could devour the energy of other artifact spirits to strengthen itself. "Let's go out first." Fairy Yu finally stopped frowning, but her eyes were still filled with surprise. She didn't expect that the demonic spirit that was suppressed would be destroyed by the new artifact spirit. Everything was daunting but not dangerous. Finally, everyone's origin spirits flew out from the purple gold heavenly palace. "Fourth brother, you've made us look for you." Seeing the origin spirit of Honorable Refiner, Honorable Mad, Honorable Purple, and Honorable Qian Xing were excited. "Your corpse core." Du Xiaofu's origin spirit flew out, took out Jiangchen's corpse core, and returned it to Jiangchen. "Many thanks." Jiangchen took the corpse core and swallowed it. A faint golden brilliance spread out, as if the soil had been irrigated with nutrients. His aura suddenly surged, and he quickly recovered. Fairy Yu and Honorable Pill's origin spirits returned to their original positions. Their eyes opened, and their auras rippled. "Quickly return your origin spirits to your body. Your disciple has already helped you get the Yin spirit crystal from the sealed ancient land. It's enough for you to completely recover." Yu Xianzi stood up and said to revered weapon. Her eyes were filled with complicated emotions. The Yin spirit crystal is not easy to get. Honorable Refiner's origin spirit was stunned as he looked at Du Xiaofu's origin spirit. He knew how precious the Yin spirit crystal was, and it wasn't easy to get it from the sealed ancient land. Xiaofu didn't just get the Yin spirit crystal. "This time, you've taken in a good disciple." Kuang Zun grinned from ear to ear. Then, he told the weapon venerable about Du Xiaofu's deeds in the sealed ancient land and the pride of the Seven Stars Hall. "Good boy, but don't be complacent." Honorable Refiner's origin spirit looked at Du Xiaofu, but he wasn't as excited as Honorable Refiner. Instead, he warned Du Xiaofu, but he couldn't hide the joy in his eyes. "By the way, fourth brother, we've already merged the 7 halls into one. Xiaofu is the young hall master. In the future, the 7-star hall will be handed over to Xiaofu." "We're all old," Honorable Qian Xing said to Honorable Refiner. "I have no objections, as long as he's willing." The venerable weapon nodded, he didn't have any opinion. Then, he looked at Kuang Zun, Venerable Dan, Venerable Zi Tianzuan and the others and said, "But Xiaofu is still young. You can't leave him to others. You have to help him." Honorable Refiner's words showed that he was protecting his young. "Of course." Honorable Refiner smiled. "Fifth brother." Honorable Refiner looked at the others. Only fifth brother wasn't here. "We'll talk about this later. You should recover your origin spirit first." Fairy Yu interrupted Honorable Refiner and said, "Xiaofu also needs to look after the weapon spirit. Let's leave first." "Okay." Honorable Refiner nodded, and then his origin spirit returned to his body. A wisp of lightning flashed between his eyebrows, and his eyes, which had been closed for thousands of years, opened. There was a flash of light like lightning, and it took a while for it to disappear. "My body is still the most comfortable." Honorable Refiner stretched his body, and a crackling sound came from his body. Du Xiaofu's origin spirit returned to his body, and then he opened his eyes. He felt the aura of his master, Honorable Refiner, which seemed to be stronger than Honorable Purple Sky and the others. Chapter 986. Then, Honorable Equipment, Honorable Pill, Honorable Maniac, and Jiangchen left. Yu Xianzi opened the spatial restriction seal and left Du Xiaofu alone on the mountain peak, waiting for the weapon spirit to finish devouring the broken soul of the murderous weapon. According to Du Xiaofu's guess, after the new weapon spirit devoured the powerful soul of the murderous weapon, it would definitely improve further. The soul of the murderous weapon would not be weaker than the original weapon spirit. It was only because of the suppression of Honorable Maniac, Honorable Equipment, and Yu Xianzi, as well as the spatial advantage of the purple gold heavenly palace that the new weapon spirit could easily destroy the soul of the murderous weapon. If it was in another place, without the suppression of several powerful experts, the new weapon spirit would definitely not be able to destroy the soul of the murderous weapon so easily. The energy of the broken soul of the murderous weapon was still surging. According to the new weapon spirit's devouring speed, Du Xiaofu estimated that it would take a long time for the new weapon spirit to completely devour the soul of the murderous weapon. As a result, Du Xiaofu brought the celestial palace of purplish gold into the desolation space. He observed the movements of the artifact spirit within the celestial palace of purplish gold as he sat down with his legs crossed and circulated the incomplete cultivation method. After a while, Du Xiaofu was enveloped in a dazzling white light. It was like a mysterious dazzling white light, rippling with an ancient aura. In terms of martial arts, he was already at the peak of the martial emperor realm. In terms of talisman Dao, he was only at the 7 stars nirvana realm. In this period of time, Du Xiaofu wanted to improve his talisman Dao. He could not lag behind too much, or it would affect his breakthrough in martial arts. Martial arts and talisman Dao complemented each other. Du Xiaofu had never looked down on talisman Dao. The primordial spirit of a talisman master was definitely much stronger than a martial arts cultivator. The importance of the primordial spirit was definitely not below the physical body. Du Xiaofu had an incomplete version of the mysterious cultivation technique in his mind. Cultivating it would yield twice the results with half the effort. More importantly, it could constantly increase the strength of one's mind and soul, making one's mind and soul different from others. It would give off an ancient and boundless aura. Within the ancient barren space, Eagle King, Gong Dao, Du Yunlong, Yi Piaoling, Qian Gu Yu, Silver Fox, Solitary Sword King, Little Tiger, Du Shaoqing, Ouyang Shuang, General, Gu Xinyan, and the others were still cultivating crazily. Especially for the younger generation like Yi Piaoling, Qian Gu Yu, Silver Fox, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoman, Ouyang Shuang, General, and the others. During the Heavenly Talents competition in the sealed ancient land, they had witnessed the strength of their peers from the 9 superpowers. Dongli Qi Huang, Jiu Ling, Jiang Wolin, and the others were all extremely powerful. Therefore, Yi Piaoling, Qian Gu Yu, General, Du Yunlong, and the others were even more determined to catch up with Jiu Ling, Jiang Wolin, and Dongli Qi Huang, while they had obtained amazing benefits this time. Hundreds of people were cultivating crazily in the ancient barren space. From time to time, there were people who were cultivating crazily. After the divine thunder body refining technique, everyone's cultivation had improved tremendously. At this moment, coupled with the continuous breakthroughs, it could be said that the overall improvement of these people in the ancient barren space had reached an absolutely amazing level. In the divine pivot hall, Venerable Weapon's primordial spirit quietly entered his body to recover. The next day, Venerable Pill, Venerable Zi Tianzuan, and Venerable Qian Xing quietly left. In a quiet courtyard, the revered equipment master Xiaoho Fenglei sat cross-legged with his eyes slightly closed. He was nourishing himself with the Yin spirit crystal to recover. The mysterious runes around him fluctuated, and a faint lightning radiance spread out from his body. The lightning radiance emitted from Venerable Weapon's body wasn't the lightning Upanishad. It came from the depths of his body, from his soul. Looking carefully, there was a mysterious energy hidden in the lightning radiance. A strange fluctuation quietly spread out. Venerable Weapon's aura was slowly increasing, and it didn't stop. According to fourth brother, if that lightning elder had disguised himself as fifth brother, if he really wanted the heavenly palace of purple gold, he wouldn't have taken action before he had finished refining it. If it wasn't for the heavenly palace of purple gold, then why did the devil religion want to find fourth brother? In the quiet small hall, Kwang Zun's face turned serious, and he whispered, "We have to guard against the devil religion. If it wasn't for the heavenly palace of purple gold on Xiaoho Fenglei, then there must only be 3 things on Xiaoho Fenglei that the devil religion wants." Yu Xianzi frowned and said softly, "The sacred body technique, the secret weapon technique," and Kwang Zun suddenly looked up at Yu Xianzi and said, "Spiritual lightning. Could it be that the devil religion wants fourth brother's spiritual lightning?" "Most likely, but I'm not sure. We have to be more careful now that we've been targeted by the devil religion." Yu Xianzi's expression turned serious. The mystery and complexity of the devil religion made her worried. The devil religion is mysterious, but we're not to be trifled with. If the devil religion dares to come again, I'd like to see how strong the devil religion is, Kwang Zun said in a deep voice, a chill spreading from his eyes. In the past few days, the Divine Light Court has suddenly retreated. It doesn't seem normal. The Divine Light Court, which had been fighting with the 7-star hall these days, had suddenly stopped fighting. This made Yu Xianzi feel that there was a reason for this. Could it be related to the sealed ancient land? I heard that the sealed ancient land has appeared, and many people have gone to look for great opportunities. The One Valley, 2 religions, 3 sects, 3 schools, and 9 major forces have probably already left. If it weren't for the matter of fourth brother and fifth brother, I would also want to go there, Kwang Zun said. The appearance of the sealed ancient land does seem strange, but if there is any great opportunity, it must belong to the fated person. It's useless to force it. Yu Xianzi smiled, and then said softly, "But we have to guard against the Divine Light Court." It had been some time since the sealed ancient land appeared, and more people had entered it. It was just that those who had received the news from far away didn't travel over land and water to rush over. After all, they knew that countless people had already entered before them. Even if there were opportunities and benefits, it would not be the turn of those who came later. They could only sigh inwardly. However, there were also people who didn't give up. Opportunities and benefits were always found by the fated person. They wanted to try their luck, and didn't hesitate to travel over land and water. Time slowly passed in the ancient desolate space. 10 times the time ratio gave Du Xiaofu enough time to wait for the weapon spirit of the purple gold heavenly palace to completely devour the broken energy left behind by the soul of the murderous weapon, so that he could immerse himself in cultivation. When 7 days had passed in the outside world, more than 2 months had passed in the ancient space. In the misty space of the ancient space, there were endless spatial ripples. The energy of heaven and earth gathered and emerged, and began to surge into the body of the purple-robed youth who was sitting cross-legged. There was a divine weapon floating in front of the purple-robed youth, which fluctuated with an extremely impactful aura that made people feel a palpitating danger. The youth's body was surrounded by a dazzling white light, like a divine radiance, and exuded an ancient aura. In the face of the endless aura surging in from all directions, the purple-robed youth's body was like a bottomless pit. He allowed the energy to surge in, but there was no sign of it overflowing. As this continued, Du Xiaofu's body did not move at all. The primordial spirit power in his body was rising. Compared to ordinary people, the speed was terrifyingly fast. At this moment, the energy of heaven and earth gathered in an endless stream. However, after being refined by the remnant of the mysterious cultivation method, there were not many that finally turned into pure spiritual soul power. However, this was already very terrifying. There were not many cultivation methods in this world that could enhance one's spiritual soul power to such an extent. For a talisman master, increasing the strength of one's spirit and soul depended on accumulating water to form a river during cultivation. Over a long period of time, it was like dripping water could penetrate a stone. Even if a spiritual talisman master occasionally used heavenly treasures, it was a shortcut and could not be used too much. But now, Du Xiaofu directly used a cultivation method to enhance his spiritual soul power. The remnant of the mysterious cultivation method could enhance one's spiritual soul power. A spiritual talisman master and a martial artist had in common that they both had qi and spirit gate. Qi was the foundation of a cultivator and the source of energy. However, the difference between a martial artist and a spiritual talisman master was that a martial artist cultivated his physical body and had martial veins to condense a vein spirit. However, a spiritual talisman master's physical body and various restrictions could not do what a martial artist should do. However, a spiritual talisman master's cultivation of spiritual soul power, a tyrannical spiritual talisman master, and the help of a spiritual root, was beyond the reach of a martial artist. A martial artist and a spiritual talisman master complemented each other, but their cultivation methods were different. Du Xiaofu was a martial artist and a spiritual talisman master. His martial arts level was already at the peak of the martial lord realm, and the qi level in his body had already reached a high level. This allowed Du Xiaofu to gain a lot of advantages in the level of talisman Taoism. As long as his spiritual soul power could reach a corresponding level, he could easily break through the level of spiritual talisman master. Although martial arts and martial arts dual cultivators complemented each other on this point, they were like fish in water and tigers with wings. However, for some dual cultivators, they might not be able to get a big advantage. As a dual cultivator, the higher the level of cultivation, the more complicated the various comprehensions would be. A martial artist's comprehension of the vein spirit mystery could be more clearly reflected. And a spiritual talisman master's spiritual soul power was also increasing. A martial arts and talisman master's overall cultivation strength was naturally higher than a martial artist or a spiritual talisman master at the same level. Chapter 987. However, all the experts knew that martial arts and martial arts dual cultivation could complement each other, but they could also restrict each other in terms of cultivation level. Ordinary people had to spend a lot of time just to understand the pulse spirit and ultimacy. Those who were not very talented would find it difficult to break through to a higher level. Furthermore, with the increase in spiritual soul power and comprehension of a spiritual talisman master, it would be extremely difficult to progress further if they were distracted. Hence, in this world, there were many martial arts and talisman dual cultivators. They were also nurtured by various forces. However, among the various forces, the ones who were nurtured were not solely based on martial arts and talisman dual cultivation, but their talent. The higher the level of talent, the greater the degree of nurturing one would receive, and the more cultivation resources one would receive. Only absolute talent was the guarantee to become a top expert in the future. On the contrary, there were many experts who were martial arts and talisman dual cultivators in this world. However, there were also martial arts and talisman dual cultivators who were restricted in the end. They were distracted and lacked strength. The comprehension of martial arts and talisman dual cultivation exhausted them mentally and physically, which restricted their progress. Many martial arts and talisman dual cultivators were able to suppress their peers at the same level of cultivation level. However, as time passed, many martial arts and talisman dual cultivators were able to surpass them in terms of cultivation level. In this way, the martial arts and talisman dual cultivators no longer had an advantage. Instead, it was a restriction. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit power continued to increase as his spiritual soul power continued to increase. It became more and more vigorous. The surrounding heaven and earth energy that gathered in the ancient barren space was continuously absorbed by Du Xiaofu. It was also continuously converted into energy under the cultivation of the mysterious incomplete technique. As his primordial spirit became stronger, every wisp of pure spiritual soul power surged into his Naiwen palace and gathered in his primordial spirit. It made Du Xiaofu feel indescribably comfortable. Rise, Du Xiaofu's aura kept rising. the white, dazzling light was fluctuating, and the ancient aura was boundless. Finally, after a few days of this, some kind of movement appeared around Du Xiaofu. The heaven and earth energy whirlpool that gathered around him trembled slightly and then slowly dissipated. The turbulent space around him also calmed down. Du Xiaofu's aura, which had been rising all this time, had also stopped at some point. However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu's originally rising aura had reached a whole new level. As the energy of the ancient desolate space dissipated and calmed down, Du Xiaofu's tightly shut eyelids trembled slightly. A moment later, he opened his eyes. This time, in the depths of Du Xiaofu's eyes, there was no sea of lightning, no overflowing golden light, and no unparalleled dominance. There was only clarity. The depths of Du Xiaofu's eyes were pitch black and looked ordinary. However, upon closer inspection, one could feel a boundless and ancient aura. 7-star perfection. Du Xiaofu murmured. The corners of his mouth curled into a smile. He raised his head slightly and formed a seal with his hands. Vigorous and surging power of the soul immediately surged out from the soul in his mind. In the end, it surged out like a wild horse, causing the surrounding space to tremble. Huff! Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's gaze trembled. In the depths of his mind's Naiwen palace, there was a strange talisman engraving emerging. That is, Du Xiaofu's eyes trembled. He could clearly feel the talisman engraving. It was a strange talisman engraving hidden in the depths of his Naiwen palace. However, its aura was extremely familiar. It was the aura of a spiritual root that had already broken through the seal. Spiritual root was an extremely special existence for a talisman master. It was also something that all talisman masters desired to possess. A talisman master's spiritual root was the same as a martial artist's martial vein. However, compared to a martial artist's martial vein, it was much more illusory. For a talisman master with spiritual root, the spiritual root was also an illusory existence. Although they knew of its existence, they could not touch its existence like a martial artist's martial vein. At this moment, Du Xiaofu could feel the talisman engraving emerging in his mind's Naiwen palace. It covered the entire Naiwen palace like a net of light that covered the sky. The aura of a spiritual root, that is the aura of a spiritual root. Du Xiaofu was astonished. This was the first time he could clearly sense the aura of a spiritual root. The aura of the spiritual root made Du Xiaofu certain that the mysterious light net of mysterious talismans was definitely related to the spiritual root in his body. Du Xiaofu had learned a little about the effects of spiritual roots from his elder brother, Zhenqing Chun, in the ancient heaven sect. For a spiritual talisman master, the spiritual root was of great use. It was the key and guarantee to become a spiritual talisman master. It was said that the spiritual root and the soul were closely related. However, the spiritual roots that Du Xiaofu learned from Gu Tianzong and his big brother Zhenqing Chun were mysterious things. Even spiritual talisman masters with spiritual roots could only adapt to their own spiritual roots and could not control them. There were very few spiritual talisman masters who could not fully activate the power of their spiritual roots. Talisman masters who wanted to control their spiritual roots were even rarer, to the point that it was almost impossible. The effects and detailed explanations of the spiritual roots could only be found in some ancient books. Some spiritual talisman masters with spiritual roots were extremely talented, but they might not be able to truly touch their own spiritual roots in their entire lives. The spiritual roots were closely related to the soul. The soul was the foundation of all living things. Without the soul, one would completely lose his life. However, if the soul was not destroyed, even if the physical body did not exist, there would still be a chance of survival. Everyone was in awe of one's own soul, and not many people dared to rashly try to touch their own soul. However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu felt the dazzling talisman engravings in his Naiwen palace that contained the aura of a spiritual root. Controlling his own primordial spirit, Du Xiaofu slowly approached the dazzling talisman engravings. He wanted to explore and see what kind of existence the illusory spiritual root was. Qi, as his primordial spirit approached the talisman engravings in his Naiwan palace, before Du Xiaofu had time to prepare, the talisman engravings directly turned into rays of light and covered his primordial spirit with lightning speed. Just as the talisman engravings covered his primordial spirit, Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit suddenly trembled violently, and waves of pain emerged from the depths of his primordial spirit. The pain that came from his primordial spirit caused Du Xiaofu's face to contort. When the dazzling talisman engravings landed on his primordial spirit, it suffered a heavy blow and viciously covered his primordial spirit. However, this pain did not last for a long time. Following which, Du Xiaofu felt a strange force land in his primordial spirit. Instantly, Du Xiaofu felt a strange fluctuation in his primordial spirit. Following which, the energy of heaven and earth in the surroundings started to enter Du Xiaofu's forehead from between his eyebrows and finally landed on the talisman engravings that covered his primordial spirit. Following which, it turned into a wave of energy and seeped into his primordial spirit. Du Xiaofu was ecstatic. Within his primordial spirit, his spiritual energy started to grow again. The mysterious talisman engravings that were related to spiritual roots had a strange suction force that could draw in the energy of heaven and earth that could strengthen one's spiritual energy. Under this suction force, the energy of heaven and earth was drawn out by the energy that was extremely beneficial to one's spiritual energy. It slowly seeped out from the space and finally endlessly entered between Du Xiaofu's eyebrows before finally fusing into his primordial spirit. Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit aura that had just risen started to rise again. However, as the primordial spirit's power rose, the light from the mysterious talisman engravings that covered his primordial spirit also started to dim. The mysterious talisman engravings had appeared for some unknown reason, but without a doubt, they would not last for long. The light from the talisman engravings grew dimmer and dimmer, but it would only last for a few days. Only when the light from the mysterious talisman engravings completely dimmed did a soft sound resound within his Naiwan palace. As the light from the talisman engravings dimmed, the light net that covered Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit also shattered and disappeared. The suction force also stopped abruptly. The surrounding energy of heaven and earth that could strengthen one's primordial spirit also started to dissipate no matter how much Du Xiaofu tried to keep it. Just as Du Xiaofu was feeling regretful, as the energy of heaven and earth dissipated, a crisp female voice sounded out from within his Naiwan palace like the sound of nature. Boundless heavenly soul, devouring spirit and transforming spirit, planting spiritual roots. These simple words reverberated within Du Xiaofu's Naiwan palace like the sound of Sanskrit, causing Du Xiaofu to feel a little dazed. Then, everything disappeared. After a while, Du Xiaofu's tightly shut eyes opened again. His eyes were even clearer and an ancient aura filled the air. In just a few days, under the effect of the mysterious light net, the power of Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit had increased greatly and reached a new level. Peak of the complete 7-star realm. Du Xiaofu muttered to himself. At this moment, his cultivation level in the Tao of Talismans had increased again under the effect of the mysterious light net and reached the peak of the complete 7-star realm. However, the mysterious light net was obviously related to the spiritual roots. It had suddenly appeared and then disappeared. At this moment, no matter how Du Xiaofu tried, he was still unable to summon it. This caused Du Xiaofu to be puzzled. Boundless heavenly soul, devouring spirit and transforming spirit, planting spiritual roots. Du Xiaofu muttered softly as the heavenly female voice reverberated in his mind. These simple words made Du Xiaofu feel a huge invisible impact, as if it contained endless energy. Chapter 988. Du Xiaofu was puzzled by who had left that voice and what the meaning of that sentence was. Du Xiaofu seemed to be able to vaguely grasp the meaning of the words. However, when he thought about it carefully, he realized that he could not figure anything out. In the end, he had no choice but to give up. In the heavenly palace of purple gold, the new weapon spirit was still devouring the energy of the broken evil spirit. It would probably take some time before it could completely devour it. Du Xiaofu released his consciousness and spied on the situation in the ancient barren space. Everyone was immersed in their cultivation and their strength had improved significantly. It seems that everyone has benefited greatly this time. A smile appeared on Du Xiaofu's face. Not only had everyone benefited greatly, but he had also benefited greatly. Now that I am at the peak of the Martial Emperor realm and at the peak of the Seven Stars realm, I should be preparing to break through to the Martial Honor realm, Du Xiaofu muttered softly. At this moment, his talisman skills had already caught up and it was time to prepare for another breakthrough. However, Du Xiaofu always knew that he could not force a breakthrough. He needed an opportunity. Comprehend the spirit of the pulse. The weapon spirit of the heavenly palace of purple gold still needed some time before it could completely devour the energy of the broken evil spirit. Du Xiaofu immediately closed his eyes again and began to comprehend the spirit of the pulse in his body. That was the key to breaking through to the next level. Du Xiaofu wanted to become stronger and he wanted to become stronger at the fastest speed possible. This time, the reason why he could break through so quickly in the Talisman Dao was not only because of the incomplete mysterious technique, but also because of the aura of the spirit root. Otherwise, Du Xiaofu knew that if he wanted to break through to the peak of the Seven Stars realm from the Seven Stars realm, even with the incomplete mysterious technique, he would need at least half a year's time according to his normal cultivation speed. Now, not only did he have to face that clan, he also had to find his alcoholic father, mother, and sister Xiaojing one day. At this moment, he also had many enemies. The Divine Light Court, the Great Will Sect, and that mysterious force, all of them were colossal forces. Although he had the Seven-Star Hall and the Ancient Heaven Sect behind him, Du Xiaofu knew that he still had to rely on himself. No one could protect him all the time. Moreover, with that clan's strength, it was likely that even the Seven-Star Hall and the Ancient Heaven Sect would not be able to help him. Even though his cultivation had improved a lot recently, and he was even able to kill a venerable realm expert, Du Xiaofu was not very happy about it. Du Xiaofu was well aware of the strength of that clan. If he were to face the experts of that clan at this moment, he would still be the only one out of luck. Moreover, not many of the true experts from the Divine Light Court and the Great Will Sect had come out. With so many powerful enemies surrounding and watching, Du Xiaofu knew that he had to increase his strength as quickly as possible. He had to continuously increase his strength. For Du Xiaofu, the fastest way to increase his strength was to train and comprehend, as well as to devour energy like the golden-winged great peng bird. Even the young of the golden-winged great peng bird needed to spread its wings in order to soar into the sky. After this period of time passed, Du Xiaofu secretly thought that it was time to find another place to start training and adventuring again. A moment later, the phantom of the Five-Finger Mountain, vain spirit appeared behind Du Xiaofu. It spread out a golden light, flashed with golden formations, and covered with mysterious talisman patterns. Hula. The phantom of the Five-Finger Mountain, vain spirit, as if it had been given life, began to evolve, and condense behind Du Xiaofu, causing dense spiritual qi to be produced around him. The golden talisman patterns evolved and arranged, appearing infinitely mysterious. Du Xiaofu closed his eyes tightly. The phantom of the mountain vain spirit flickered with a golden brilliance, accompanied by a terrifying power spreading out, golden light overflowing. Time passed slowly in the outside world, but not many people knew that Venerable Pill, Venerable Purple Sky, and Venerable Qian Xing had entered and left the Imperial Pivot Hall. The primordial spirit of the weapon Venerable, Xiahou Fenglei had begun to return, nourishing and recovering in the Imperial Pivot Hall. Other than Venerable Kuang and Fairy Yu, no one else knew. Even the disciples of the Imperial Pivot Hall, including Lin Weiqi and the elders of the Imperial Pivot Hall, did not know what Du Xiaofu had been doing in the Imperial Pivot Hall recently. However, on the seventh day after the weapon Venerable, Xiahou Fenglei's primordial spirit returned, in addition to the appearance of the sealed land, another major event occurred in the outside world. The Great Luan sect announced to the outside world that the young master of the seven-star hall, Du Xiaofu, had killed hundreds of their disciples, destroyed the stone dragon empire of Qing Nan, the fiancé of the holy son of the Great Luan sect, and killed tens of millions of people. He had committed a heinous crime, and the Great Luan sect would enforce justice on behalf of the heavens by killing Du Xiaofu, the demon king. The Great Luan sect even threatened that if the seven-star hall did not hand over Du Xiaofu, they would not be polite to the seven-star hall. Following the announcement of the Great Luan sect, the entire central continent was stirred up again. Some people began to worry about the seven-star hall. However, to those with a discerning eye, they only smiled indifferently. Those with a discerning eye knew that the hundreds of disciples of the Great Luan sect had been killed by Du Xiaofu, and the family of the fiancé of the holy son of the Great Luan sect, Dongli Qi Huang, had been overthrown by Du Xiaofu. This was undoubtedly a slap to the Great Luan sect's face. However, Du Xiaofu was also the junior brother of the ancient Sky sect master. The Great Luan sect really could not do anything to the ancient Sky sect, so they took a step back and targeted the seven-star hall. In order to save face, the Great Luan sect more or less had to say a few words, so they went to the seven-star hall. As for the ancient Sky sect, the Great Luan sect did not dare to go against them, so they could only pressure the seven-star hall. As for whether the Great Luan sect dared to go to war with the seven-star hall in the end, those with a discerning eye knew. There was no doubt that the Great Luan sect would not let Du Xiaofu go, but it was unlikely that they would go to the seven-star hall to find Du Xiaofu. It was rumored that the hall masters of the seven-star hall from more than 1,000 years ago were still alive. If they angered those experts, the Great Luan sect would have to pay a heavy price in the end. Therefore, if the Great Luan sect wanted to deal with Du Xiaofu, they would only do it in the dark. If the Great Luan sect wanted to openly attack the seven-star hall, not to mention that the hall masters of the seven-star hall were not to be trifled with, the ancient Sky sect would not just stand by and watch. However, the hall master of the seven-star hall, Kuang Zun, also gave a direct response to the Great Luan sect's threat. Any disciple of the seven-star hall who saw a disciple of the Great Luan sect in spirit realm would not let go of a single one. Any force in spirit realm that was related to the Great Luan sect would be killed without mercy. In just a few days, many forces that were related to the Great Luan sect in spirit realm had been eliminated. The seven-star hall's direct response was another slap to the Great Luan sect's face. It also let many people know that Kuang Zun was still the Kuang Zun of the past, and was not in existence to be trifled with. Du Xiaofu's title as the Demon King also spread and became a hot topic. Killing tens of millions of people. This kind of massacre was indeed unbelievable, and it made one's hair stand on end. Central State was abuzz with discussion. Everyone was guessing if the Great Luan sect would respond. At the same time, the Profound Talisman sect released another shocking news. They said that if anyone dared to touch the young hall master of the seven-star hall, Du Xiaofu, the Profound Talisman sect would not stand by and do nothing. Is the Profound Talisman sect related to the seven-star hall? It is said that the Demon King Du Xiaofu has an extremely good relationship with the young miss of the Profound Talisman sect, Zhu Shui. When Du Xiaofu died, it was said that Zhu Shui personally went to the Stone City. The Demon King Du Xiaofu is a supreme genius and has a good relationship with Zhu Shui. He is worthy of being roped in by the Profound Talisman sect. While the outside world was abuzz with discussion, the sealed ancient land was still crowded and lively. Time passed extremely quickly in the ancient desolate space. In the blink of an eye, half a year had passed. Golden talisman runes crisscrossed around the purple-robed youth, evolving and condensing. Du Xiaofu comprehended the five-finger mountain peak's vein spirit, which produced dense spiritual energy and connected with the energy of heaven and earth. Dazzling light spread throughout the misty space. Everything was calm in Dubhe Hall. The appearance of the hall master of Dubhe Hall, Kuang Zun, made the disciples of Dubhe Hall feel an absolute sense of security. No disciple of Dubhe Hall thought that anyone would dare to act presumptuously in Dubhe Hall. Early in the morning, the darkness of the night faded away and the morning sun rose from the east. A gray ray of light passed through the hazy brown sky and turned into a faint golden light that illuminated the mountains and earth. Chapter 989. Huff Huff. Within the Dubhe Hall, the 30,000 permanent disciples woke up from their cultivation. They exhaled a mouthful of turbid air and began to welcome a new day. Boom. Suddenly, the entire Dubhe Hall trembled violently. Then, a terrifying aura soared into the sky. What's going on? All the disciples were shocked. They rushed out one by one and were immediately shocked to see the formation that they had never seen activated before. The terrifying talisman formation shrouded the area and the mountains, protecting the Dubhe Hall within. The Divine Light Court will massacre the Dubhe Hall today. Kill without mercy. As the figures rushed out of the Dubhe Hall, a cold and sharp voice rang out from outside the formation. It passed through the formation and reverberated above the Dubhe Hall. It's the Divine Light Court. A strong enemy has arrived. All the disciples of the Dubhe Hall rushed out and looked at the sky in front of them. There was a talisman formation and dazzling talisman characters covering it. They could not see the situation outside. The people of the Divine Light Court are here. No wonder they stopped fighting for half a month. Lin Weiqi looked at the sky in front of her. Her red robe was like fire, and she frowned slightly. On the highest mountain behind the 7-star hall, a total of 8 figures gathered. In addition to Kuang Zun, Yu Xianzi, and Elder Cui Fu, there were 5 other figures. Their auras were even stronger than Elder Cui Fu's. They had all reached the venerable level. They were the supreme elders of the Dubhe Hall, the absolute experts in charge of the Dubhe Hall. The people of the Divine Light Court have indeed made arrangements. They came directly to the Dubhe Hall. Yu Xianzi frowned slightly. With a wave of her hand, the space in front of her became clear. Numerous figures occupied the air, covering the sky and covering the earth. There were at least a few thousand of them. In particular, the hundreds of figures at the front were all floating in the air and twisting the space. They were emitting an eerie chill. The old bastard of the Divine Light Court has come personally. Kuang Zun looked at the first elder in the sky outside the talisman formation. His gaze suddenly turned cold. It was the Lord of the Divine Light Court. There is also the Cloud Light Court Lord and the Lightning Court Lord. Both of them have reached the extraordinary level. The other 5 venerables are not weak either. There is also an 8-star spiritual talisman master who has reached the origin level. I didn't expect the Divine Light Court's strength in these years. They must have used all their strength. Yu Xianzi looked at the few venerables behind the Divine Light and frowned again. Lord, Shenguang Sky Lord of the Divine Light Divine Court has personally brought so many people to our Imperial Pivot Hall. Judging from their momentum, it seems that they are serious. How should we deal with them? Elder Cui Fu asked Kuang Zun. I've already informed the various halls, and the experts from each hall will arrive as soon as possible. The Divine Light Court is nothing to be afraid of. Lord Kuang's eyes were cold. All the palaces had their own means of communication. He had already secretly informed Lord Alchemy, Lord Purple Sky Lord, and Lord Qian Xing. As long as the 3 of them arrived, the Divine Light Court would have nothing to fear. Since the Divine Light Court dares to come in such a big way, they must not be simple. They must be on guard against Purple Sky Court. Yu Xianzi looked at the powerful figures outside the talisman formation and murmured, the aura of Divine Light Court Lord seems to be much stronger than before. Break the formation. Inside the Dubhe Hall, Divine Light Court Lord stood in the air. His voice was majestic and powerful. His eyes were shining with a dazzling light, as if he could look down on the world. As Divine Light Court Lord's voice fell, the several venerable level experts behind him suddenly rushed out. They waved their hands and energy surged, violently sweeping toward the space below. Under the energy of several venerable level experts, the energy fluctuations above the talisman formation spread out. The power of space swept out, causing the ground and mountains to shake. Rumble. The space above the Dubhe Hall was on the verge of collapse. But in the end, the protective formation of the Dubhe Hall was able to withstand the joint attack of several venerable level experts. Break the formation with all your strength. Seeing that the formation was not broken, several experts roared and continued to forcibly break the formation. Terrifying energy surged out and exploded above the firmament. Rumble. The protective formation of the Dubhe Hall was continuously attacked by several extraordinary venerable level experts of the Divine Light Court. Suddenly, ripples spread out from the talisman formation. A thunderous sound exploded in the space of the Dubhe Hall, causing everyone to be frightened. The terrifying energy fluctuations, under the continuous fierce attacks of several venerable level experts, especially under the attacks of the 8-star Origin Spirit Talisman Masters and Transcendent Martial Venerables, the talisman formation was on the verge of collapse and began to show signs of cracking. All the disciples of the Dubhe Hall, looking at the crumbling talisman formation, began to tightly grip their talisman weapons and Dao weapons. The protective formation of the Dubhe Hall won't be able to hold for long, but the people that Divine Light Court Lord and the others are not to be feared. The two of us are enough to deal with them. Kuang Zun stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the crumbling talisman formation in front of him. If he wasn't confident, Divine Light wouldn't have dared to come so easily. Things may not be so simple. Yu Xianzi observed the situation outside and vaguely felt that something was wrong. Although there were many experts from the Divine Light Court, and they had already used all their strength. However, other than Divine Light Court Lord, although the other martial venerables were tyrannical, they did not have the strength to destroy the Dubhe Hall. Divine Light Court Lord was not a fool. Yu Xianzi naturally knew this, which was why she was secretly worried. I'll deal with Divine Light Court. I'll leave the other people who are more difficult to deal with to you. Kuang Zun said to Yu Xianzi. I feel that we need to join forces to deal with Divine Light. Yu Xianzi said. I think we can also contribute some strength. At this moment, a faint voice was heard, and then 5 figures appeared on the mountain peak. In the lead was a man in his 30s. His face was sharp and cold, and his eyes were dark and deep. He was dressed in a lavender robe, which made his figure look extremely elegant and graceful. With the appearance of this man, the surrounding space was suddenly filled with a faintly discernible black evil aura. Beside the man, there was an enchanting woman in red. In addition, there were 3 fierce-looking men, all of whom were rippling with a terrifying evil aura. The 5 of them were Jiangchen, Phantom He, Beast Killer, Evil Soul, and Blood Vine Demon. Have you broken through to the flying zombie level? Sensing Jiangchen's aura, Yu Xianzi was quite surprised. Zombies were divided into flesh zombies, waking zombies, walking zombies, purple zombies, white zombies, green zombies, hairy zombies, and flying zombies. The flying zombie level was no lower than the exalted level. Once a flying zombie broke through again, it could become a demon or a golden howler. The legendary demons and golden howlers could kill dragons and swallow the clouds. Wherever they went, the land would be scorched red for thousands of miles. What's more, the most terrifying of all zombies were immortal and indestructible. They were cast out of the 6 paths of reincarnation by the heavens. It was said that the most terrifying of zombies could enter and exit the 2 realms of yin and yang. They could travel up the 9 heavens and down the netherworld. Although their bodies were lifeless, they were as free and unfettered as gods. Thus, anyone would be extremely wary of such a terrifying existence. Breaking through is just a matter of time. Jiangchen didn't seem to care too much about breaking through to the hairy zombies level, as if everything was supposed to be like this. He looked into the distance, his deep eyes narrowed slightly, and said softly, the people who came seem to be very strong. I'm afraid the formation won't last long. It will break sooner or later. Let's just kill our way out. I want to see how strong that old bastard Xinguang is. Kuang Zun looked at the shaky formation, and then fixed his eyes on Shengguang Tianzuan, who was outside the formation. A cold light flickered in the depths of his eyes. Then open the formation. Everyone attack with all your strength to reduce any losses. As Yu Xianzi's voice fell, the hand seals in her hands changed. The sky suddenly trembled, and the formation began to dissipate. As the formation disappeared, the entire Imperial Pivot Hall suddenly shone with dazzling light. The thousands of experts from the Divine Light Court spread a bright light, as if the sun had descended. It was dazzling. Disciples of the Imperial Pivot Hall, listen to my order. Kill the invaders without mercy. Elder Cui Fu's voice spread out in the sky. Kill. The disciples of the Imperial Pivot Hall, who had already tightly grasped their Dao weapons, suddenly burst out their aura, and rushed into the sky one by one. In the sky, looking at the disappearing formation, Shengguang Tianzuan's eyes turned cold. He said in a cold voice, "Kill, leave no one alive." Boom! One figure after another rushed out. The disciples of the Divine Light Court and the Imperial Pivot Hall collided in mid-air in the blink of an eye. Rumble. It was just a face-to-face encounter, but the two sides were already fiercely fighting. The dazzling formation in the sky immediately erupted. Hula. Following which, blood splattered everywhere as the mighty figures charged forward, shaking the void. Kill. Lin Weiqi attacked, leading the most extraordinary young disciples of the Imperial Pivot Hall to rush out. She waved her hand, and the blade light flooded the space, turning a martial emperor cultivator of the Divine Light Court into blood mist fragments. Those who invade the Imperial Pivot Hall will be killed without mercy. Lin Weiqi shouted, directly activating the blazing flame martial vein. Rolling flames burned, and rushed to kill the experts of the Divine Light Court. Kill. The venerable level cultivators of the Divine Light Court rushed out, their aura surging, shaking the 9 heavens, and light swept across the sky. Some of the disciples of the Imperial Pivot Hall directly spat out blood in the terrifying aura. Bastard, kill! The venerable level experts of the Imperial Pivot Hall rushed over, one by one, their aura erupted, roaring to the sky, shaking the void, and rushed to kill the venerable level experts of the Divine Light Court. Chapter 990. Walala. A monstrous evil aura fluctuated, causing the sky to darken. Phantom, Blood Vine Demon, Beast Killer, and Hun Xia attacked, their killing intent soaring to the sky. Jiangchen also attacked, his target was a mysterious martial honorable of the Divine Light Court. Black evil aura gathered endlessly from the void, resisting a mysterious martial honorable. Jiangchen was not at a disadvantage. Old man Shengguang, you are courting death. Kuang Zun and Yu Xianzi appeared above the void, a terrifying aura fluctuating, filling the sky and rushing to the 9 heavens. Peak Nirvana Realm. Looking at Kuang Zun, Shengguang Tianzuan's eyes moved slightly, and he smiled faintly. Yu Xianzi stood quietly, her aura fluctuating stronger and stronger, releasing a terrifying pressure. A palm-sized jade plate appeared above Yu Xianzi's palm, hovering and floating. The jade plate was incomparably simple, with runes spreading out, inscribed with various ancient runes, spreading out a misty mist. On the jade plate, an ancient and astonishing pressure quietly swept out, gradually emitting a dazzling light, as if it was filled with an aura of destruction. Peak 8-star complete realm, it's actually the ancient spiritual plate wall. Looking at Yu Xianzi and the ancient jade plate in her palm, Shengguang Tianzuan narrowed his eyes. Attack! Kuang Zun shouted, from his rough body, a terrifying aura surged and spread out, his aura looking down on heaven and earth, crossing over to Shengguang Tianzuan. If it was in the past, I would have been afraid of the 7 of you, but now, it's not the past. Shengguang Tianzuan spoke, his voice majestic, his eyes shining with a dazzling light, spreading from the surface of his body, as if spreading out from the depths of the void, as if descending from the 9 heavens, binding Kuang Zun. You'll know after you try. Kuang Zun shouted, his fist filled with runes, terrifying energy violently swept through the sky, like a thunderbolt. It's not the past, the present me is not someone you can match. Shengguang Tianzuan shouted lightly, a fist wrapped in lightning light met the attack. The space where the two fists collided was chaotic, and a dark space crack spread out. Just the aftermath of the force that swept out between the two could destroy everything, suppress the mountains and rivers, and tear the mountains apart. Rumble. At this moment, the attacks of these two experts had caused many mountains in the surrounding mountains to explode. At the same time, Wild Sovereign was knocked back. His face paled slightly, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. You took that step. Wild Holiness looked at Shengguang Tianzuan in shock. His expression finally became serious. He hasn't completely taken that step. He's only a half-domain. Jade Fairy's figure appeared, her eyebrows furrowed. The pressure of the jade plate in her hand swept out in all directions. Heaven and earth energy surged, sweeping towards Empyrean Shengguang. At the same time, she said to Mad Reverend, delay him for a while. I will lay down the array formation. As long as we have time, Purple Empyrean and the others will arrive, then we will have a chance. All right, I'll do my best to stall that old bastard. Kuang Zun shouted and activated his human king martial vein. His power exploded, causing cracks to appear in the surrounding space. At this moment, Mad Holiness was attacking with all his might. His power was enough to break the earth and shatter the mountains and rivers. The void around him was like a black abyss that was entrenched in front of him. It began to suppress Shengguang's Skymaster. These three people were fighting at the highest point of the void. No one else could set foot in it. And below, a terrifying aura rippled. The cries of killing shook the heavens and earth as they fought fiercely. In terms of venerable level cultivation, with the addition of Jiangchen, Phantom, and the others, the Divine Pivot Hall was definitely not at a disadvantage. It was just that an 8-star origin Dao Talisman Master of the Divine Light Court was delaying two experts of the Divine Pivot Hall. And in terms of Martial Emperor level cultivation, the Divine Light Court seemed to have turned out in full force. The overall strength of the 7-star hall was not below that of the Divine Light Court, but the Divine Pivot Hall alone was at a disadvantage at this moment. Among the countless muffled sounds of energy, there were many screams. The disciples of the Divine Pivot Hall continued to fall. In a short time, blood flowed like a river. Kill, the Divine Pivot Hall will be destroyed today. In the Divine Light Court, there were Martial Emperor level cultivators who shouted coldly. Under the frenzied attack, many disciples of the Divine Pivot Hall were killed. Whoever wants to touch the Divine Pivot Hall will have to pay the price in blood. Lin Weiqi shouted. Seeing countless disciples of the Divine Pivot Hall fall, her eyes turned red. Her whole body was wrapped in raging flames, and she rushed forward to kill. Kill! Elder Cui Fu also began to kill. She was not polite at all. She killed until her clothes were stained with blood and her hair was messy. Fight with the bastards of the Divine Light Court. The disciples of the Divine Pivot Hall shouted angrily. Their hearts were bleeding because of the death of their fellow disciples. At this moment, there was only a bloody battle. Otherwise, there was no way out. In mid-air, countless vain spirits were entrenched. Lions and wolves roared, dragons and tigers leaped. There were phantoms of fierce birds, vain spirits that covered the sky, surging with monstrous runes. Their eyes were like 2 rounds of lightning, sharp and frightening. There were phantoms of demon bears, vain spirits in the sky. Yellow mist surged, emitting spiritual brilliance in a terrifying aura. There were phantoms of giant pythons entrenched in the sky. Their eyes were like torches burning fiercely. The entire void exuded a monstrous murderous aura. Heaven and earth trembled, and runes covered the sky. In the Divine Pivot Hall, the murderous aura covered the sky and the sun, drowning everything. Blood Vine Spirit, Phantom, Beast Killer. Although Hun Xia was powerful, he was restrained by the experts of the Divine Light Court and could not get away. I'll kill you first. In the Divine Light Court, an old woman at the peak of the martial royal realm stared at Lin Weiqi, wanting to kill her. Boom! The old woman attacked. Her whole body was dazzling. Her old body was like a god entrenched in the light. The flames around Lin Weiqi's body were scattered and her body was pushed back. Poof! Lin Weiqi was still not strong enough to fight against a peak of the martial royal realm. Her red lips were bleeding, her eyes were red, and her face was full of anger, but her expression was solemn. Little girl, you've reached the end. The old woman sneered. She came to the Divine Pivot Hall to kill. She would not hold back at all. Once again, she pounced on Lin Weiqi as fast as lightning. I think you've reached the end. A faint voice was heard. A bolt of lightning swept down and pierced through the space. Bang! The old woman at the peak of the martial royal realm, who was pouncing on Lin Weiqi, was suddenly struck down in midair by the lightning before she could get close to Lin Weiqi. Her body exploded, and the surroundings were filled with electric arcs. Swoosh! A purple figure appeared beside Lin Weiqi and handed her an elixir. He looked around and his expression was serious. Young Hall Master. Lin Weiqi looked at the purple-robed figure that had suddenly appeared in front of her. It was a young man with a broad sword wrapped in purple cloth on his back. Under his sword-like eyebrows, his eyes were sharp and frightening. There was also a little golden macaque standing on his shoulder. Who else could it be other than Du Xiaofu? The young hall master is here. Among the disciples fighting in the Divine Pivot Hall, some disciples noticed Du Xiaofu's appearance and immediately became excited. They shouted loudly to kill him. Especially for the disciples who had entered the sealed ancient land, they had special trust and admiration for the purple-robed young man. It was as if as long as the young man was there, the Divine Pivot Hall would be safe and sound. Young Hall Master, it's the people from the Divine Light Court. They have come out in full force and want to massacre the Divine Pivot Hall. Lin Weiqi took the elixir from Du Xiaofu's hand and swallowed it. Her beautiful face was serious. Kill the people from the Divine Light Court. Du Xiaofu was furious. He waved his hand behind him, and a terrifying aura suddenly fluctuated from the mountain behind him. Suddenly, over 100 figures flew over from the sky. Hundreds of figures were not many in the fierce battle. However, the hundreds of auras that were fluctuating at this time attracted the attention of the entire battlefield. Even the martial venerables had to use their minds to spy on them. It's the bastards from the Divine Light Court again. Kill them. Kill the bastards from the Divine Light Court. Roar. Their shouts were like thunder, and the roars of beasts were heard. In a few flashes, hundreds of figures appeared in the sky above the battlefield. Waves of auras that were at least in the martial dominator realm burst out all of a sudden. Many of the auras were so powerful that even the martial venerables had to be wary. More than 100 people, more than 100 martial royal realm experts, all rushed out like ferocious tigers. They immediately rushed into the crowd of people from the Divine Light Court. Everywhere they passed, a murderous aura filled the sky. It's them, the people from the World Society. Some disciples of the Divine Pivot Hall recognized Yi Piaoling, Du Yunlong, Qian Guyu, Little Tiger, Du Shaoqing, and the others. Chapter 991. Those were the geniuses who had stepped onto the lightning platform in the sealed ancient land. Any one of them was a terrifying figure. At this moment, Du Shaoqing, Yi Piaoling, Du Yunlong, Little Tiger, Qian Guyu, Silver Fox, and the others were all terrifyingly powerful. No one from the Divine Light Court could stop them. Roar! The little tiger roared and transformed into its original form. Black symbols rushed into the sky as a tiger claw extended downwards. It was surrounded by golden symbols, and it seemed as if it could completely crush the mountains and rivers below. The two Nirvana realm martial emperors from the Divine Light Court were torn into pieces by the little tiger's claw. At this moment, little tiger's strength had skyrocketed after the Divine Thunder body refinement. He had comprehended in the battle realm comprehension for half a year, and his strength had increased again. He was at the peak of the Nirvana realm in the Beast Emperor realm, and he had even comprehended the profound of the dark heavenly tiger. It would not be difficult for him to kill ordinary human cultivators of the same level. G. The silver-winged demonic condor transformed into its true form and flapped its wings, covering the sky and the sun. Golden light spread for 100,000 miles and swept up a group of experts from the Divine Light Court, instantly destroying them. Kill. Yi Piaoling, Silver Fox, Qiangu Yu, Stone, Duo Sha, and the other guardians took action. Their murderous auras were like the reincarnation of death gods. Kill. The Eagle King's gong saber had reached the mysteries of the martial emperor realm. It smiled proudly in the sky. The palm print created by the sacred body art could destroy talisman weapons and tear people of the same cultivation into pieces. There's no good in the Divine Light Court. Kill. Du Yunlong shouted loudly. His killing intent was fierce, and his eyes were filled with lightning. He had already stepped into the peak of the Nirvana realm of the martial emperor realm. Although there were only a little over 100 of them, the entire battlefield was immediately turned upside down. The people from the Divine Light Court were in a state of panic and began to flee in all directions. This group of people was not only strong, but also fierce in killing. Their auras were like that of peerless ferocious beasts. They did not fear the attacks of the experts of the Divine Light Court. It was as if their physical bodies had reached a terrifying level. More than 100 people rushed into the crowd of the Divine Light Court like wild wolves rushing into a flock of sheep. The experts of the Divine Light Court screamed in agony. The disciples and experts of the Divine Light Court all panicked. They had never seen such fierce and wild killing before. So many talisman weapons and Dao artifacts. Leave some for me. Du Xiaoyao bellowed. As he leaped out from Du Xiaofu's shoulder, he transformed into a huge golden ape. Like a supreme being, he snatched the talisman weapons and Dao weapons of the disciples of the Divine Light Court. This was a feast for him. Divine Light Court. Golden light erupted from Du Xiaofu's eyes as the golden runes on his back erupted. The golden wings of the great rock flapped, causing the sound of wind and thunder to fill the air. The golden light was like the sun, and his eyes were bloodshot. In the next moment, Du Xiaofu waved his hand and a broadsword wrapped in purple cloth appeared in his hand. Boom! With a shake of his arm, the purple cloth turned into fragments and dissipated. A dazzling purple gold light erupted from the broadsword like a suppressed volcano. Awoo! In an instant, astonishing and dazzling purple gold talisman patterns soared into the sky. Wind and thunder rumbled in this part of the world. The roars of dragons, tigers, birds, and turtles sounded as if there were gods and demons roaring. That was the birth of the heavenly palace of purple gold. After half a year in the ancient desolate space, the weapon spirit had finally devoured all the energy of the evil spirit, causing its aura to increase exponentially. At this moment, as the heavenly palace of purple gold appeared in Du Xiaofu's hand without any scruples for the first time, a terrifying aura swept across the world, causing the world to tremble violently. Many mountains in the distance shook violently in the energy sweep and collapsed. What kind of divine weapon is that? Someone looked at Du Xiaofu in astonishment. The heavenly palace of purple gold broadsword was like a dragon. As the purple gold light bloomed in the sky, it was as if the god of weapons wanted to sweep across the 9 heavens. That's a divine weapon. Among the people from the Divine Light Court, many martial honorable experts were secretly shocked. That divine weapon was too powerful. Kill! Du Xiaofu flapped his wings and pounced forward like a rock spreading its wings. His speed was as fast as lightning. He swung the heavenly palace of purple gold in his hand, targeting a martial honorable middle-aged woman from the Divine Light Court who was fighting with the phantom. Sensing Du Xiaofu's aura, the middle-aged woman's gaze turned serious. She immediately used all her strength to force the phantom to retreat. The middle-aged woman floated in the void. Dazzling light exploded all around her, as if forming a dazzling divine halo around her. It was filled with divine light and had a dignified look. It was holy and powerful. It was extraordinary and wanted to stop Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu pounced forward like a rock. The heavenly palace of purple gold in his hand emitted a dazzling light, forming a purple-gold spatial vortex. He swung his sword downwards. The sword radiance instantly swept out, causing the space to tremble. Roar! The appearance of the sword was like the roar of a dragon and the cry of a turtle. The surrounding mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. A terrifying aura filled the entire space, causing one's soul to tremble. Crack! In an instant, the divine halo around the middle-aged woman who was at the martial honorable realm of purple gold was shattered by the sword radiance. Everything was destroyed. Before the middle-aged woman could react, her body was smashed into pieces. She couldn't be more dead. A martial honorable realm expert was killed by Du Xiaofu's heavenly palace of purple gold in a second. Roar! A martial honorable who had just reached the peak of the martial honorable realm who was fighting with the blood vine spirit activated a huge dragon's vein spirit to occupy the void, bringing with it dark clouds. Swish! Du Xiaofu appeared and waved his hand. Golden light erupted from his claw and easily crushed the dragon spirit. Then, he slashed out with his sword and slashed the dragon's body that was about to flee in panic into pieces in the void. Kill! Du Xiaofu went on a killing spree. He swung his heavenly palace of purple gold again and the sword radiance filled the sky. In fact, Du Xiaofu's every move was simple, but it contained a kind of Tao power. It was the overbearing way of the sword that he had comprehended. Blood splattered everywhere the third move passed. The third martial honorable from the Divine Light Court was killed by Du Xiaofu just like that. At that moment, Du Xiaofu's killing spree caused the people from the Divine Light Court to scatter as if their lives depended on it. All of them had fear in their eyes. Du Xiaofu flew across the sky and killed a martial honorable in 3 steps. How powerful and overbearing was his killing intent. The Divine Light Court had come to the Imperial Pivot Hall for a bloodbath and there was an endless grudge between them. At that moment, Du Xiaofu would not be merciful. Originally, the Imperial Pivot Hall was at a disadvantage. At that moment, Yi Piaoling, Du Yunlong, Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, General, Gu Xinyan, Li Yuxiao, the silver-winged demonic condor and other terrifying people joined the fray. The Divine Light Court had long been defeated. Inside the Imperial Pivot Hall, the mountains were stained with blood and the mountains and rivers collapsed inch by inch. Quick, stop Du Xiaofu, quick! Shengguang Heavenly Master, who was being besieged by Kuang Zun and Yu Xianzi, shouted. His heart was bleeding. Shengguang Heavenly Master had never thought that there were so many terrifying martial emperors hidden in the Imperial Pivot Hall. In particular, Shengguang Heavenly Venerate had also seen Du Xiaofu in the descriptions and information. That young man's strength had reached a terrifying level. Back in the Stone Dragon Empire, 6 venerables had been killed. Shengguang Heavenly Venerate's heart was bleeding. At that moment, another 3 martial honorable experts had been killed by Du Xiaofu. Shengguang Heavenly Master's heart was roaring. It was as if his flesh was being cut by a knife. However, Shengguang Heavenly Master had been trapped in the void by the talisman array set up by Yu Xianzi. Even if Shengguang Heavenly Master was at the half-domain realm, with Kuang Zun attacking with all his strength, he could not escape. Yu Xianzi and Kuang Zun were more terrifying than Shengguang Heavenly Master had imagined. At that moment, Shengguang Heavenly Master knew why the 9 major forces had been afraid of the 7-star hall all these years. Boy, you killed so many experts of my Divine Light Court. Today, I will not forgive you. A terrifying aura descended. An old man in his 60s with a bun appeared in front of Du Xiaofu. The aura of this old man fluctuated, making Du Xiaofu feel that he was only weaker than his master Gu Qingyang. He was much stronger than other martial honorable experts. Could he be a transcendent martial honorable? Du Xiaofu raised his head and frowned slightly. Facing the old man in front of him, a sense of crisis emerged in his heart. Kill! When the old man attacked, the surrounding clouds surged. He was Yun Guang, heavenly master of the divine light court. He had the cultivation of a transcendent martial honorable and was famous in the central region. Qi! As Yun Guang, heavenly master, attacked, a huge palm print emerged from the surging clouds and pressed down on Du Xiaofu. Runes spread over the palm print, like a sea of clouds surging. The surrounding space revealed pitch-black spatial cracks, and the aura was extremely terrifying. Chapter 992. Du Xiaofu could feel the strength of the old man, but he did not retreat. He slashed out with the purple-gold heavenly fault in his hand. A dazzling sword light swept across the sky, and the buzzing sound of wind and thunder could be heard. Under the sword light, the surrounding space was torn apart. The purple-gold light filled the sky, and then it went towards the cloud sea palm. Chi la la, the two collided, and the surrounding space was rattling. The cloud sea palm was like a huge wave, and it destroyed all the runes on the purple-gold sword light. The cloud sea palm emitted a dazzling light, and finally forced Du Xiaofu to retreat. The impact caused Du Xiaofu's hand to crack, and blood flowed from his palm. So strong! Du Xiaofu's eyes trembled. He could easily kill a mysterious martial honorable, but he was no match for a transcendent martial honorable. They were both martial honorables, but a transcendent martial honorable was more powerful than Du Xiaofu had imagined. It was an existence that surpassed a complete martial honorable. You have such strength without breaking through to the honorable realm. I can't let you live. Yun Guang the sage bellowed, his killing intent soaring to the sky. Another handprint followed closely behind, carrying runes that swept up like huge waves in the vast ocean. It was like a resplendent river of clouds descending, its aura enveloping Du Xiaofu like the end of the world. A transcendent martial honorable was so powerful. Ao! It was also at this moment that a shout that sounded like a dragon's roar and a divine elephant's cry came out of Du Xiaofu's mouth. He raised the purple-gold heavenly fault with one hand, and his purple robe fluttered in the wind. With his body as the center, the space under Du Xiaofu's feet cracked and spread out. The runes in front of Du Xiaofu rippled, and a palm was formed in front of his left hand. Buzz! Buzz! A low chanting sound was emitted from the palm. After which, it was accompanied by the mysterious symbol runes as it cut through the air and directly rushed towards the former. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the two palms collided heavily against each other. A thunderous muffled sound of energy immediately resounded throughout the battlefield. Rumble! Large amounts of runes shattered and surged as golden light erupted. The sea of clouds rolled, and a terrifying energy ripple suddenly swept out like a stormy sea. The impact caused the mountains in the Dubhe Hall to shake, and countless boulders rolled down and shattered. Whoosh! Du Xiaofu's body fell from the terrifying wind. Just as he was about to hit the ground, the golden rock wings on his back flapped rapidly and his back crashed into the mountain peak. Rumble! The mountain peak rumbled, and the rocks turned into fine powder. Large cracks in the surrounding rocks continued to spread out, and the entire mountain peak was destroyed. Puchi! Du Xiaofu's face turned pale as a wisp of golden blood seeped out of the corner of his mouth. He was able to contend against a transcendent revered martial artist with a cultivation at the peak of the consummate martial emperor realm. At this moment, Du Xiaofu had to rely on his abnormal defense and the increasingly tyrannical mysterious style. Even with the help of the golden rock wings, he was still injured. Even with the purple gold heavenly palace in hand, it was difficult to resist. This transcendent martial honorable was simply too powerful. It's hard to resist. Du Xiaofu muttered to himself. This transcendent martial honorable was very powerful. Even if he used his pulse spirit and lightning martial vein, this transcendent martial honorable also had his own pulse spirit and martial vein. To be able to have the cultivation of a transcendent martial honorable, this person's martial vein would not be too low. In addition to the transcendent martial honorable's cultivation, even if he went all out, he would only be able to hold on for a while and would not be able to solve the problem. Die! Yun Guang Venerable pounced once again. Seeing Du Xiaofu's strength, he could not suppress his killing intent. His body flew across the sky, and his aura seemed to be able to destroy the world as he attacked Du Xiaofu once again. I can only use my trump card. A cold glint flashed in his eyes, and a mysterious aura spread out from Du Xiaofu's body. In his golden eyes, a strange mysterious rune accompanied by an extremely shocking energy swept out, shaking one's soul. Mysterious Soul Eye. In the next moment, there seemed to be a ray of light shooting out from Du Xiaofu's eyes, and the strange mysterious rune light overlapped. In a short moment, the dazzling mysterious rune light shrouded the sky like a bright moon and enveloped Yun Guang Venerable. All of a sudden, Yun Guang Venerable's eyes froze. However, in less than an instant, Yun Guang Venerable revealed a sneer. It's just an illusion. You're too weak if your primordial spirit is not at the level of an 8-star spiritual talisman master. Yun Guang Venerable sneered. His body was surrounded by a sea of clouds, and he ignored Du Xiaofu. The illusion formed by the primordial spirit of an 8-star spiritual talisman master could not shake him at all. In the face of Yun Guang Venerable's attack, Du Xiaofu smiled, and a special rune light appeared in his eyes. That kind of rune light seemed to be quite similar to the mysterious spirit eyes. They seemed to be of the same origin. The rune light formed an illusory space fluctuation in front of Lin Fan. Then, Du Xiaofu disappeared into the space fluctuation in front of Yun Guang Venerable's eyes. Another illusion. He's at the end of his rope. Yun Guang Venerable ignored Du Xiaofu. His body was surrounded by a sea of clouds, and he immediately plunged into the space fluctuation. There's something hidden in the illusion. Something's not right. The moment Yun Guang Venerable stepped into the space fluctuation, he immediately discovered something strange. However, with his powerful cultivation, Yun Guang Venerable was still indifferent and did not pay much attention to it. However, he did not underestimate it. He released his consciousness and probed the surroundings. He realized that the surrounding space was ancient and boundless. It was different. A smile appeared on Du Xiaofu's face. He used the mysterious soul eye and the Sumeru illusion to lure the transcendent martial venerable into the desolate ancient space. Otherwise, the transcendent martial venerable would not have entered the desolate ancient space so carelessly. The desolate ancient space was not ordinary. After completely controlling and merging with the desolate ancient space, one could activate everything in the space for his own use. The more he could comprehend and control, the more he could activate for his own use. The beast energy, secret skills, and runes in the desolate ancient space could all be used by Du Xiaofu. Once a strong enemy was trapped in the desolate ancient space, they could only be slaughtered. Du Xiaofu had already merged with and controlled the desolate ancient space. He was aware of the wonders and profoundness of the space. However, he had never used it before. It seems to be an extraordinary treasure. I've gained a lot today. Yun Guang Venerable sneered. He did not hide his killing intent. The weapon in Du Xiaofu's hand was an absolute treasure. Yun Guang Venerable could also feel that the strange space was extraordinary. It was impossible for him not to want it. Boom! As he sneered, the sea of clouds around Yun Guang Venerable surged. The sea of clouds glowed and dazzling runes intertwined. Within the cloud river, there seemed to be stars densely packed. It looked incomparably brilliant and immediately enveloped Du Xiaofu. Undoubtedly, Yun Guang Venerable felt that he had wasted too much time. He wanted to kill Du Xiaofu with all his might. This young master won't play with you anymore. Just stay here. Du Xiaofu sneered. Just as the sea of clouds shrouded him, he disappeared. At the same time, Yunguang Venerable's attack disappeared. Then, the surroundings changed and Yunguang Venerable appeared in a space of nothingness. In the space of nothingness, countless shadows of demonic beasts roared. Runes and secret skills filled the space. It was a vast space with an ancient and boundless aura. At this moment, Yunguang Venerable's eyes turned solemn. He could feel the extraordinariness of the space. Psst! In the air, Du Xiaofu's figure flew out from the fluctuating space runes. Then, the desolate ancient space turned into a light screen and flew into the space between his eyebrows. Kill! On the ground and in the air, the battle was still fierce. It was a bloody battle that was extremely tragic. As the energy runes intertwined and swept out, broken arms and limbs flew up continuously. There were bodies that turned into blood mist and scattered everywhere. The lives of some experts seemed extremely fragile at this moment. However, the people from the Divine Light Court were already in a miserable state. Some of them had already started to flee in all directions. They were chased by terrifying figures like Yi Piaoling, Du Yunlong, Du Little Tiger, Du Shaoqing, and the General. At this moment, 3 of the Divine Light Court's venerables had been killed by Du Xiaofu. Even Yunguang Venerable was imprisoned in the desolate ancient space. The remaining Divine Light Court's venerables could no longer leave to provide support. As for the other experts of the Divine Light Court, there were not many who could fight against Du Shaoqing, Du Little Tiger, Du Xiaoyao, Yi Piaoling, Du Yunlong, and the General. Kid, where's Yunguang Venerable? A loud shout resounded through the void. An elder in a wide robe appeared in front of Du Xiaofu. There were lightning runes flashing on his robe, and electric arcs raged all over his body. He was Thunder Light Venerable. Like Yunguang Venerable, he was also a transcendent martial venerable of the Divine Light Court. He had been spying on the entire battlefield. Thunder Light Venerable had severely injured a martial venerable in the Sky Pivot Hall and fell down the mountain peak. He happened to see Du Xiaofu come out of the ancient space. Yunguang Venerable, who had been chasing after him, was nowhere to be seen. Thus, he gave up chasing after the martial venerable in the Sky Pivot Hall and targeted Du Xiaofu. He won't live for long. Du Xiaofu looked at Thunder Light Venerable and sensed his aura. This person was not weaker than the former. He was another transcendent martial venerable. Du Xiaofu, who was hiding in the dark, immediately focused. The golden rock wings on his back erupted with a bright golden light. He secretly thought of various ways to deal with him. Little bastard, you've killed so many experts of the Divine Light Court. Die! Thunder Light Venerable showed no mercy. His figure leaped across the void toward Du Xiaofu, and lightning rippled around him. Chapter 993. Retreat first. Du Xiaofu shifted his gaze. Du Xiaofu could sense a dangerous aura from this person that was slightly stronger than the transcendent martial revered from before. Naturally, it was not enough for him to go head-on against him. His shoulders trembled and the golden wings on his back flapped. His figure immediately retreated into the horizon. Golden afterimages appeared in the sky, causing people to be dazzled. The golden-winged rock's speed coupled with the wave-like free footwork was as fast as lightning. His speed is not slow. Looking at Du Xiaofu's afterimages retreating, the lightning reverend's eyes were filled with astonishment. However, he soon shook his head coldly. As the surrounding electric arcs flashed, the space beside the lightning reverend started to distort. Runes fluctuated and his entire body strangely disappeared from his original spot. Spatial energy control. The instant the lightning reverend disappeared, Du Xiaofu saw it from afar. His entire body trembled and even his primordial spirit could not help but tremble. Just as Du Xiaofu was about to retreat again, a lightning figure appeared in the space where he was before he died. It was less than 10 feet away. Brat, no matter how fast you are, it is useless in front of absolute strength. Die! When the lightning reverend appeared, his indifferent killing intent surged. He threw out a palm print and the surrounding electric arcs fluctuated. In an instant, it was as though a lightning ball was formed. Along with the thunder clouds in the sky, it shot towards Du Xiaofu at lightning speed. Lightning profound, huh? Du Xiaofu raised his head. Lightning suddenly surged in his eyes like a sea of thunder. A purple lightning was released in front of him. A fist covered in purple lightning swept out and heavily collided with the lightning reverend's palm. Rumble, when the two collided, lightning runes covered the sky. It was incomparably resplendent. Along with the muffled sound of thunder, it blocked the others and made it difficult for anyone to be affected. The terrifying commotion calmed down. Du Xiaofu stood in the air and his entire body was wrapped in electric arcs. The lightning from the lightning reverend's terrifying attack entered Du Xiaofu's body and disappeared without a trace. It was obvious that it did not cause much damage. Puchi. However, a trace of golden blood flowed out from the corner of Du Xiaofu's mouth. That was all. The lightning reverend was inwardly astonished. He could feel the same aura of lightning that erupted from Du Xiaofu earlier, causing him to feel fear. It was as though Du Xiaofu was the sovereign of lightning. If he could comprehend it, his strength would definitely improve further. This was a great opportunity for him. Looks like my opportunity has come. The voice of the Thunder Reverend was cold as lightning flashed in his eyes. His killing intent surged like the tides. After that, a claw imprint appeared in his hand, bringing with it rumbling thunder and lightning. It was like a heavenly claw that enveloped the space above Du Xiaofu's head, crushing downwards. Looking at the old man's claw, Du Xiaofu's eyes flashed with ruthlessness. At this moment, Du Xiaofu definitely had the strength to continue fighting. Regardless of whether it was the purple gold heavenly fault, the pulse spirit or the lightning martial vein, he could continue fighting. Most importantly, he still had the purple lightning profound cauldron with him. Once he used the purple lightning profound cauldron, Du Xiaofu knew that he would be able to destroy the transcendent martial revered in front of him. However, once the purple lightning profound cauldron appeared, Du Xiaofu knew that he would have to run for his life. Then, just as Du Xiaofu was about to go all out, a figure appeared in front of Du Xiaofu from the space behind him. The newcomer calmly clenched his fist and quietly blocked the claw imprint of the lightning reverend. A slightly old voice with a domineering aura resounded in the space, "Lightning Reverend, you are not qualified to touch my disciple." The moment the fist imprint came into contact with the claw imprint, the Lightning Reverend's old face suddenly changed. The electric arcs around him suddenly dissipated and crawled. As if he felt something, the Lightning Reverend suddenly raised his head in shock. He saw an old man in his 50s standing in front of Du Xiaofu. The old man's long black hair fluttered behind him and his scarlet robe fluttered. He had a wide forehead and a square face. Under his thick eyebrows, his eyes were deep and there were flaming runes dancing in the depths of his eyes. If one looked carefully, the flaming runes dancing in the depths of his eyes were actually a kind of flame-like lightning. The lightning in his eyes would cause one to feel as if they were about to be destroyed. The Yuan spirit in one's Naiwan palace would be completely destroyed and one's soul would be pierced and withered. When the Lightning Reverend saw the figure clearly, his old face could not help but tremble. His eyes were filled with shock and he could not help but cry out, "Xiahou Fenglei, your Yuan spirit has recovered." The Lightning Reverend naturally knew the weapon Reverend Xiahou Fenglei. They had always been of the same generation. However, over 1,000 years ago, the name Xiahou Fenglei had always been an unreachable existence. At this moment, the Lightning Reverend could tell with a single glance that Xiahou Fenglei had recovered completely. It was obvious that Xiahou Fenglei's Yuan spirit and physical body had merged and there was no effect at all. The surrounding space was distorted and it seemed as if he wanted to control this world, causing the surrounding space to ripple. The frightening aura faintly spread and caused the Yuan spirit in his mind to tremble. "Master, you have recovered." At this moment, Du Xiaofu had already taken a step forward. Looking at his master, the weapon sovereign, who had suddenly appeared beside him, a look of surprise quickly surged onto his pale and determined face. Xiaofu, go and help the others. Leave this person to me. The weapon reverend glanced sideways and ignored the lightning reverend. He smiled at Du Xiaofu and said to Du Xiaofu. Okay. Du Xiaofu nodded. His master, the revered weapon master, had recovered. Relying on his sharp primordial spirit, it was not difficult for Du Xiaofu to know that his master, the revered weapon master Xiahou Fenglei, was much stronger than a transcendent martial saint. Du Xiaofu even guessed that the aura of his master, the weapon reverend, was not much weaker than his brother, Zhen Qingchun. After nodding, Du Xiaofu quickly retreated. The purple-gold heavenly palace appeared in his hand again. Du Xiaofu's eyes erupted with golden light, and he rushed into the formation of the divine light court experts. Miserable screams and cries of slaughter immediately rang out. In mid-air, the weapon reverend Xiahou Fenglei raised his head and looked at the lightning reverend. In the depths of his eyes, flame-like lightning flickered with a chill. You actually know that my Yuan spirit was not originally in my physical body. Only my brothers and I and the devil religion know about this. It seems that your divine light court is related to the devil religion. Xiahou Fenglei, whether you have recovered or not, you will not be able to escape today. The lightning reverend's old face darkened. He immediately wanted to break free from the weapon reverend and retreat. Rolling lightning appeared in the sky, and lightning formations were densely packed, illuminating the void above as if it was the end of the world. Even if the divine light court is related to the devil religion, some people in the devil religion are afraid of the big clans in this world. As for trash of the divine light court, lightning reverend, you were an ant in front of me 1,300 years ago. You still can't change now. You have offended the 7-star hall and injured my disciple. This debt, you will have to pay with your life. His faint voice carried an unparalleled arrogance. As soon as the weapon reverend finished speaking, the killing intent in his eyes was undisguised. His fist that was resisting the lightning reverend's claw suddenly flickered with flames and lightning. Like maggots, it tightly attached to the lightning reverend's claw, making it impossible for him to retreat. Not good. As if he had a bad premonition, the lightning reverend's primordial spirit felt a chill. Monstrous lightning raged in his body as he unleashed all his strength in an attempt to break free from the weapon reverend's restraint. However, in the face of the lightning reverend's all-out resistance, the weapon reverend's face remained calm. The flames and lightning that flickered on his fist suddenly seemed to come alive. A huge suction force gushed out, and then it directly devoured the lightning on the lightning reverend's body. No matter how the lightning reverend resisted, it was useless. Martial Uncle Shenguang, save me, save me. At the last moment, the lightning reverend, who had used all his strength, finally shouted loudly. His voice rumbled as his cry for help resounded in the sky. However, all of this did not seem to change anything. The lightning energy that had just been devoured by the lightning Zunjia on the fist of the weapon venerate Xiahou Fenglei suddenly erupted in the next instant. The space in front of the fist was instantly shattered as lightning arcs shot towards the sky. Rumble. The space collapsed, and the pitiful lightning reverend's body exploded in front of the weapon reverend's fist. The lightning reverend's body turned into ashes that rained down. Even his primordial spirit could not escape. Bang! 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 In the void, energy surged and vibrated in all directions. The terrifying talisman array that Yu Xianzi had set up was forcibly destroyed by the Shenguang Heavenly Master. The mighty energy burst out, and dazzling runes were densely packed. The sound waves were sonorous and deafening. Walala, the tide-like energy spread out like waves, spreading out endless space ripples, shaking the void. Everyone below was horrified, and their hair stood on end. Bang! Bang! The energy waves soared into the sky. With a low muffled sound, the energy storm rolled up thousands of feet high, drowning the void above. Countless runes were released in the void. Then, Yu Xianzi and Kuang Zun were knocked back from the sky. Both of them vomited blood and were seriously injured. Are you all right? The weapon reverend rushed out and gently placed his hands on the backs of Yu Xianzi and Kuang Zun, stopping them in the void at the same time. Fourth brother, have you recovered? Kuang Zun turned his head. His hair was disheveled, and he did not have time to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth. He laughed happily at the weapon reverend. The weapon reverend smiled and said to Kuang Zun, not only have I fully recovered, but I've also made some progress. As his voice fell, the weapon reverend looked at the sky. In the dazzling light, the Xinguang heavenly master rushed out. The surrounding light was dazzling, enveloping the void, accompanied by the fluctuation of lightning. It was extremely terrifying. Xinguang has reached the half-domain level. Be careful. Yu Xianzi said to the weapon reverend. She frowned and was a little worried. Half-domain level, me too. The weapon reverend smiled faintly, and then looked at the void in the distance. His voice came out, Lightning Reverend, you're here. Come out too. Chapter 994. Ha, Xiahou Fenglei, I didn't expect you to have recovered. As his gloomy voice faded, the space above him slowly expanded. Lightning filled the void and filled the air. Then, 7 figures slowly swept out from the space, and after a few flashes, they appeared in front of everyone. The first was a yellow-robed old man, whose aura was extremely powerful and terrifying. The 6 mysterious black-robed men behind him all had the aura of a venerable. Especially 2 of the 6 black-robed men, whose aura was even stronger than the 8-star Chaos Origin Talisman Master of the Divine Light Court. Yin Thunder Old Man, as the yellow-robed old man appeared, Kuang Zun, Yu Xianzi, and the others' eyes darkened. The yellow-robed old man was the Yin Thunder Old Man who had pretended to be Ji Mo's minister. Yin Thunder Old Man is here too. Du Xiaofu, who was slaughtering the invaders of the Divine Light Court, also noticed the movement in the sky. He raised his head and looked up. The yellow-robed old man was the Yin Thunder Old Man who had been scared away by the purple-flamed demonic phoenix. According to the strength of his big brother, Zhenqing Chun, the purple-flamed demonic phoenix had to be wary of his big brother, Zhenqing Chun, but it was able to scare away the Yin Thunder Old Man. Du Xiaofu guessed that the Yin Thunder Old Man's cultivation should be at the peak of the Nirvana realm. At most, he had just touched the half-domain level. However, that level was already extremely terrifying. A transcendent martial venerable was already not a match for him. A peak Nirvana realm martial venerable who had touched the half-domain level was far from enough. You're finally willing to come. If we fail today, we won't be able to explain ourselves. With the appearance of the Yin Thunder Old Man, Xinguang Heavenly Master's face did not look too good, and there was a hint of anger in his majestic voice. Many experts of the Divine Light Court had been killed, and they had suffered heavy losses. However, the Yin Thunder Old Man had delayed until now to appear, which made Xinguang Heavenly Master extremely unhappy. We only want Xiahou Fenglei and Du Xiaofu. You and I will join forces to deal with Xiahou Fenglei. Let's end this quickly. The others won't be able to hold off Purple Sky Sovereign and the other 2 for long. Yin Thunder Old Man did not seem to care too much about Xinguang Tianzuan's words. His deep eyes swept across the audience, and then he waved his hand and ordered the 6 black-robed men behind him, you guys deal with Kuang Zun and Yu Xianzi. Capture Du Xiaofu and end this quickly. Yes, sir. 6 black figures then shot out like lightning and pounced on the ground below. The 2 strongest among them directly pounced on Kuang Zun and Yu Xianzi, who were already severely injured. Bastard, you're courting death! Shouted Kuang Zun. His burly figure suddenly rushed forward, his aura exploding and shaking the void. Although Kuang Zun was severely injured, he was still terrifying and fierce. His body rushed into the sky with supreme power. Dazzling energy burst out and he immediately clashed with one of the experts from the devil religion. In the next moment, Yu Xianzi held the ancient wall of spirits and collided with one of the experts from the devil religion. Only the remaining 4 venerables from the devil religion locked their auras on Du Xiaofu and pounced on Du Xiaofu. Brother, be careful. 3 auras swept out. Du Xiaoqing and Little Tiger's by Feng Divine Bird and Black Tiger's body appeared in the sky with a terrifying aura like a tornado. Du Xiaoyao's golden ape body shone with golden light and appeared together. Without any explanation, the 3 of them used all their strength to block the 3 of the demonic cult's venerables who were coming. The remaining venerables from the devil religion, who had the strongest aura among the 4, deliberately pounced on Du Xiaofu. He should be a perfected martial venerable. Feeling the aura from the devil religion's venerable, Du Xiaofu slightly gritted his teeth. The golden wings on his back flapped like an eagle soaring into the sky. His movements were as fast as lightning as he slashed out with his sword. A simple slash contained the overbearing way of the sword. Bang bang. In a flash, the 4 of them collided with each other. Their speed was so fast that it was dazzling. A low groan was heard, and a large number of dazzling runes exploded in the air. Surging killing intent surged in the air. Puqi, Little Tiger, Du Xiaoqing's Black Tiger and Bai Feng Divine Bird's bodies were knocked back and fell down, crashing into the mountain and shattering it. Du Xiaoyao's situation was also not good. She continuously shattered the spatial ripples. The 3 of them were not a match for the venerables, not to mention the 3 venerables from the devil religion, who were not ordinary. Dang dang, Du Xiaofu's body staggered back in the air, and some pale golden blood spilled from the corners of his mouth. The other party was a perfected martial venerable and was very powerful. The divine light court is indeed related to the devil religion. Yinlei, you attacked me that day. Today, you will pay the price. Weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei growled, and the lightning radiance that spread out from his body covered the void. There was a murderous intent that shook the surroundings. Flaming lightning streaked across the sky, sweeping toward Yinlei Old Man and Xinguang Heavenly Venerable at lightning speed. Xiahou Fenglei, you have reached the half-domain. Sensing the aura from Weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei, Yinlei Old Man's face changed unexpectedly. Back then, he had secretly attacked Xiahou Fenglei. At that time, Xiahou Fenglei was only at the peak of the 8-star Nirvana realm. I have to thank you. It's a pity that your cultivation has not improved much in the past 1,000 years. Weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei growled. At this moment, he did not look like a normal spiritual talisman master at all. Instead, he was like a ferocious thunder beast, erupting with unparalleled flames and lightning, directly enveloping Yinlei Old Man and Xinguang Heavenly Venerable. With the terrifying pressure of thunder and lightning, a large area of the void was destroyed. I didn't expect that you, Xiahou Fenglei, have also reached the half-domain realm. Xinguang Heavenly Venerable rushed out, and the dazzling light spread all over his body, emitting a dazzling and terrifying light. There was also the fluctuation of thunder and lightning, which turned into a dazzling beam of light, with the power to pierce through the sky, and swept toward Weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei. We are both at the half-domain, but I am a human venerable, and I have spiritual thunder. Old Man Xinguang, how can you be my opponent? As Weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei roared, the thunder and lightning in the sky condensed into a claw print. The claw print was formed by the condensation of thunder and lightning, and the lightning runes were densely packed. It was so intense that the dazzling light of Xinguang Heavenly Venerable seemed to dim. It was so bright that the creatures below had to close their eyes, unable to look at it. Boom! There was a low explosion, and meteorites collided. The void changed color, and the dazzling runes exploded. The energy imprisoned the void, and Weapon Venerable's claw print tore apart Xinguang Heavenly Venerable's light beam, forcing Xinguang Heavenly Venerable to retreat. At the same time, the attack of Xinguang Heavenly Venerable arrived. His eyes were sharp and gloomy. A claw print in the void attracted thunder and lightning, and with the momentum of thunder, it appeared in front of Weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei. Whoosh! The claw print was accompanied by thunder and lightning, and the space along the way was torn apart. 5 pitch-black space traces were revealed. This was the real tearing of space. You will pay the price. Weapon Venerable shouted, ignoring Xinguang Heavenly Venerable. He opened his mouth and sucked, swallowing the power of thunder and lightning from Xinguang Heavenly Venerable's body into his mouth. His whole body was flowing with fire and thunder, and even his eyes were flashing with fire and thunder, as if he had turned into a thunder god. Then, he punched Xinguang Heavenly Venerable's claw print. Bang! There was a low explosion, and Xinguang Heavenly Venerable was directly shaken, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Xinguang Heavenly Venerable, quickly use your trump card, or you won't be able to do anything to Xiahou Fenglei. Xinguang Heavenly Venerable's face was very ugly. Xiahou Fenglei's strength was stronger than he had imagined. There were still a large number of experts of the Divine Light Court dying. They were the foundation of the Divine Light Court, and the painstaking efforts of Xinguang Heavenly Venerable over thousands of years. At this moment, his heart was bleeding. Xinguang Heavenly Venerable looked at Weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei in front of him, and coldness flashed in the depths of his deep eyes. A ball of light fluctuating with thunder and lightning suddenly appeared in his palm. As the ball of light in Xinguang Heavenly Venerable's palm was crushed, an indifferent and majestic voice slowly came from the sky. You really want me to show up, you two good-for-nothings. As the indifferent and majestic voice came out, there was a strange light spreading out from the void above Xinguang Heavenly Venerable's head. A figure wrapped in thunder and lightning appeared, and the surrounding thunder and lightning were like silver snakes flashing, enveloping his entire body, and making it impossible to see his true appearance. As the figure appeared, a terrifying pressure spread out, bringing with it a destructive and domineering power. The figure appeared above the void, and no one dared to approach, and could only look up. Weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei seemed to have felt something, and the fire and thunder in his eyes gradually shrank and condensed. Greetings, emissary. As the thunder and lightning figure appeared, Xinguang Heavenly Venerable and Xinguang Heavenly Venerable immediately bowed respectfully. Chapter 995. You have the 3000 repelling lightning. I've spent a lot of time on you, but it's worth it. The lightning figure moved, ignoring the Yin Thunder Elder and Xinguang Heavenly Master. Lightning shot out from his eyes as he stared at the weapon-revered Xiahou Fenglei. His gaze was like a sea of lightning. He was far away from the battlefield of the weapon-revered Xiahou Fenglei, Crazy Sovereign, and Yuxianzi. The appearance of the terrifying lightning aura in the sky naturally attracted the attention of Du Xiaofu, who had just been pushed back. The thunder martial vein in his body seemed to have sensed something and began to stir. Du Xiaofu's heart sank when he sensed the aura of the lightning figure. The terrifying aura seemed to have really shrouded and solidified the space. Du Xiaofu felt that the aura was even stronger than that of his master, the weapon-revered master. Could it be the legendary true martial domain realm expert? Du Xiaofu's heart sank and his expression turned serious. Third young master. At this moment, as Du Xiaoqing, Little Tiger, and Du Xiaoyao were pushed back, Phantom, Shou Sha, and Hun Xia abandoned the martial venerables of the Divine Light Court and immediately appeared beside Du Xiaofu. Be careful. Du Xiaofu said to Phantom and the other two. He looked at the perfect martial venerables in front of him with a cold gaze. But at this moment, what was more serious was the lightning figure that was descending from above. Shou Sha, Hun Xia, and Phantom appeared and immediately blocked the 3 martial venerables of the devil religion with all their strength. Kid, you are full of treasures. Surrender. The perfect martial venerables of the devil religion looked at the golden rock wings on Du Xiaofu's back, and the purple gold heavenly palace in his hand revealed a greedy look. He formed a hand seal in his hand and a strange energy appeared in the sky. It was as if he had borrowed all the energy in the space. Boom! In the end, all the energy was transformed into a terrifying attack by the peak-revered martial artist. It could topple mountains and overturn seas, destroying everything in its path as it rushed towards Du Xiaofu. It wanted to engulf Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu's expression changed, and the purple lightning in front of him interweaved. Lightning runes filled the sky, and turned into a curtain of purple lightning arcs, blocking the opponent's attack. Rumble. However, the peak martial saint did not hold back at all. This attack was too terrifying. It resonated with the heavens and the earth, bringing with it a terrifying rumbling sound. It was as if it had borrowed the power of the heavens and the earth to bind Du Xiaofu. Puchi, Du Xiaofu kept retreating as a faint golden blood mist spilled out of his mouth. Bastard! Du Xiaofu's eyes were filled with coldness. His entire body was overflowing with lightning. A terrifying aura fluctuated and he was about to activate the thunder martial vein. The seven-star hall is not a place for the devil religion to behave atrociously. At this moment, a loud shout resounded through the sky. A purple light filled the sky and turned into a claw that was wrapped in purple runes. It swept down from the sky. Chi La, then, the purple claw was like a purple lightning bolt, fiercely colliding with the terrifying rune energy that was engulfing Du Xiaofu. Rumble, the purple claw swept down and the peak martial saint's attack was in chaos. Pitch-black spatial cracks spread out. In the mountains below, many of the mountain peaks cracked and exploded under the aftershock of the terrifying purple claw, revealing ravines. As the claw destroyed everything, the lightning spread to the top of the peak martial saint's head and fell like purple lightning. Ka, the peak martial saint's eyes suddenly shrank in fear. His body was crushed like an ant, and he couldn't be more dead. Xiaofu, are you alright? In the next moment, an old man with long purple hair and wearing a purple-patterned robe appeared in front of Du Xiaofu. His facial features were like a sculpture. When he was young, he must have been handsome and exuded a noble aura. At this moment, the aura on his body was even more terrifying. Sixth martial uncle. Looking at the purple-haired man, Du Xiaofu was slightly shocked and then overjoyed. The person in front of him was his sixth martial uncle, the hall master of Mizang Hall, Zi Tianzuan. As Du Xiaofu's voice fell, the space beside Zi Tianzuan fluctuated again and two more figures descended. One of them was a strong man in his 70s, wearing a star-patterned robe. The other was an old man in a spiritual talisman master's robe. They were the Hall Master of Supreme Brilliance Hall, Venerable Qian Xing, and the Hall Master of Tianji Hall, Venerable Dan. It's time to end this. At the same time, the lightning figure above attacked. A terrifying aura confined the void and lightning spread, as if it wanted to destroy the world. Electric arcs danced in the sky, releasing immortal destructive lightning. It was dazzling and terrifying, enveloping weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei. At this moment, this expanse of space was densely covered in lightning talisman markings that were dazzling and resplendent. Moreover, they emanated destructive lightning rumbling. At this moment, the void was trembling and the mountains and rivers were surging. It was as if the lightning figure had become the only thing in the world. The lightning figure was the only one left in the void. The lightning was brilliant, just like a supreme being. With such a terrifying attack, everyone in the void below could not help but stop fighting. They were all aghast. The attack was too terrifying. Even a venerable realm expert's hair would stand on end. At this moment, weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei was relaxed. He looked at the void and said, I'm not afraid of a doppelganger. But fifth brother, do you really want me to waste my energy? Fourth brother, your primordial spirit seems to be getting stronger and stronger. A faint laughter sounded, but at the same time, a dense and dazzling rune appeared in front of weapon Venerable Xiahou Fenglei. Boom! The aura of the rune caused the void to tremble as well. It covered the heaven and earth. A figure descended and blocked the destructive lightning. At this moment, no matter how terrifying the lightning was, it could not get any closer. The figure that landed appeared to be older than the venerable weapon. He was more than 70 years old. His black hair was smooth, and his complexion was ruddy. The silver hair at his temples fluttered in the wind. With the appearance of this old man, the heaven and earth trembled again. There was an inexplicable pressure spreading from his body. It seemed to be even more powerful than the lightning figure. That's fifth uncle, Jimo's minister. Du Xiaofu, who was in the void below, looked at the old man who appeared beside his master, weapon venerable. His eyes were filled with surprise. That old man was the hall master of Alioth Hall, fifth uncle, Jimo's minister. Hiding your head and showing your tail, but it's still just a clone. The 7-star hall is not a place for a clone like you to behave atrociously. Jimo's minister raised his head and looked at the lightning figure. With a deep shout, the runes on his body glowed and formed a dazzling divine ring in front of him. It then connected and emitted a blinding divine light. Finally, the dazzling runes condensed into a solid halberd. It shone brightly and dazzlingly. It directly pierced through the void and destroyed the surrounding destructive lightning. The debt with the devil religion, I will settle it with you sooner or later. Today, I will collect the interest first. In the next instant, Jimo's minister appeared in front of the lightning figure. No one could clearly see what happened. After that, everyone only saw Jimo's minister's fist, which was wrapped in dazzling runes, fiercely landed on the lightning figure's body. Rumble! This punch directly pierced through the lightning figure, causing the lightning to explode and dissipate into monstrous arcs of lightning. However, no blood was seen. It was just a clone. However, the result shocked everyone. Run, Jimo's minister has broken through to the martial domain realm, run quickly. Een Thunder Old Man's old face instantly changed as he fled with lightning speed. Retreat, everyone, retreat quickly. Shenguang Heavenly Sovereign was also afraid as his pupils shrunk. He knew very well what the true martial domain realm represented. He had always yearned for that step but was unable to take it. Chi, Een Thunder Old Man and Shenguang Heavenly Sovereign quickly escaped. They tore through the void and instantly entered the void crack. Since you are here, then you will have to pay the price. Seeing the Een Thunder Old Man and Shenguang Heavenly Lord trying to escape, Jimo's eyes flashed with a cold glint. From afar, he sent out a runic handprint that seemed to be able to control the power of heaven and earth as it viciously slammed towards the spatial rift that the two escaped into. Bang bang! When the handprint landed, the surrounding space silently turned into nothingness. The surrounding space crumbled as a terrifying energy directly entered the void crack. Pucci, within the void crack that was gradually closing, 2 muffled groans could be heard as blood spurted out from the void crack. The 7-star hall will not exist for long. My devil religion will not give up. A sinister and painful voice could be heard from within the void crack. It was obvious that Een Thunder Old Man and Shenguang Heavenly Sovereign had both suffered heavy injuries. Following that, the void crack slowly closed. Kill, leave no one alive. Purple Heavenly Sovereign looked at the space above. His gaze swept across the battlefield as murderous intent surged in his eyes. He immediately rushed out and attacked. Run, run quickly! The experts of the Divine Light Court and several sovereigns of the devil religion did not dare to stay any longer. They all scattered and fled in panic. Kill! However, at that moment, as Purple Heavenly Sovereign, Crazy Sovereign, Pill Sovereign, Sovereign Qian Xing and other experts joined the fray, the sovereigns were also rapidly falling. Die! GMO, the Hall Master of Alioth Hall, attacked. The 8-star Primordial Origin Talisman Master of the Divine Light Court wanted to escape, but in the end, his divine soul was destroyed. At that moment, the 8-star Primordial Origin Talisman Master did not even have much power to resist in the hands of GMO, the Hall Master of Alioth Hall. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.